March 2023, a group of researchers formed the Truth Mafia, a collective determined to investigate conspiracies and occult mysteries that have been buried for centuries. With a passion for uncovering the truth, they delve into the darkest corners of history, pop culture, and ancient mysteries, seeking answers to questions that have plagued humanity for ages. The Truth Mafia is led by Tommy Truthful, a man shrouded in mystery and intrigue, dedicated to uncovering the hidden truths behind some of the world's most perplexing and enigmatic phenomena. Their research has led them down countless rabbit holes, from deciphering ancient symbols to exploring the hidden meanings behind popular media and literature. Despite the risks and challenges they face, the Truth Mafia remains steadfast in their quest for knowledge. Will their investigations lead to groundbreaking revelations, or will they unravel an even deeper web of secrets and lies? Only time will tell in this ongoing saga of conspiracy and intrigue.
Welcome to another episode of the Truth Mafia podcast with your host, Tommy Truthful. Make sure you smash that like button, share this video, help us get it out there to the people. Leave a little comment. It helps the video get into the algorithm. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under US 17107. Make sure you guys go check out our decodes that we do over on truthfultv.com, where we break down whether you're one of these NPCs controlled by Enlil Saturn Moon Matrix, or a first player character in control of your own reality that activated the Kundalini that Enki installed in us. We also do the dream interpretations over there, and that's on truthfultv.com. That link is down below. You get a custom image created with your personal decode. You might be one of these rare first player characters in a carrier of the Neo code. These people are able to bend and manipulate reality to their will. If you're new to this platform, in the movie The Matrix, there are several people who wake up from the system. They learn to read the hidden code of green letters and numbers of the Matrix. This is not just a movie. We too have a hidden code behind everything, and it's called Gematria. It comes from Jewish Kabbalah mysticism. And in many different scriptures like the Talmud, they've mentioned these entities. In the Talmud, they talk about these aquatic lizard species that they were worshiping, right? And we're going to get into this today. I got a special guest with me. Before I get going, we got to get a little promo out the way. This podcast is sponsored through Body Align and the Energy Wellness Band. These things are amazing, guys. That link's down below. Use promo code Truth Mafia. It blocks all that EMF microwave frequencies that our boy Enlil's blasting us with to dumb us down. In the band of these is the Shugnite, the Tourmaline, all grounded up, which helps to protect your biofield in your body from them frequencies. And it has the hologram with certain frequencies binded to it that also protects you. So let's get into it. Today with me, I got my brother, Joey, from the Library of the Untold. What's up, Joey?
Up, bro? You know how to come out swinging, dude. Oh my God.
I come out swinging, bro. I've been doing it for a while,
I'm sweating listening to all this.
Yeah, you gotta get a flow to it so it feels natural. But your video, man, that you did, I love all your work, I actually found you a while back, and a lot of people are stealing your work and pretending they were you. And I had shared a video that you did on the story of the reptilians, kind of from the dinosaur narrative. And If somebody shared that and pretended like it was yours, and then thank God someone in the comments said, that's not that person's video. It's this person, Library of the Untold. And they put your link in there. And then I just reached out to you.
Yeah.
We became good buddies.
Yeah. And it was, the rest was history from there. And since then, man, I've kind of gotten used to it. I've grown in favor. I guess once I found out that there's no fighting people using your material, then I might as well just embrace it and be grateful that people are. But the only thing I kind of have a itch about is whenever they use it out of context. I oftentimes will say things that are allegories, and they'll snip that part, and then it looks like I'm saying some wild stuff, but you'll have that.
Yeah, you'll have that. And honestly, it probably is what makes them go crazy viral, because like that story of the reptilians, that
Right.
was pretty much like an allegory, right?
Right.
And
Well,
they
dude, you know what happened? You're absolutely right. And what I have proof of that because I've been putting out some shorts lately. And recently I had a guy making the shorts and he took a 1 minute, you know, shorts on YouTube is 1 minute. I was covering the Kordaluski clouds that Robert Temple talks about in his new book, Science of Heaven. And there's a lot of science behind this plasma that might be sentient, right? So
I
in the
agree.
labs, the plasma seems to kind of toy with the scientists, almost like a prank like feel. And meanwhile, there's these giant clouds that are hinged on either side of the moon that rotate with the moon, and they stay locked with the moon with the planet. And it's amazing. And that plasma happens to be right. But and the science goes on, right? But the short that he released was just 1 minute of me being like, it could be an AI technology, blah, blah, blah. Their clouds are sentient. This could be watching us and blah, blah, blah. Dude, people got so upset in the comment section. It was the most backlash I've ever had. I started posting links to the science and the articles, Robert Temple's book in the comments. I started commenting like, dude, watch the full video to build up to this, all that. But no, dude, people they were mad because they were like in denial about the things that I was presenting. But again, that went viral because it was out of context, you know?
Yeah, and that's cool. Hey, listen, me personally, bro, I think that I believe it's these two brothers, Enki and Enlil, that have been running shit for millennia since we were born, and their offspring now is really running shit, right? Murdoch kind of took over Enlil's whole lineage, and he took over that. And his worship, if you really read what they got on Wikipedia and the different Sumerian tablets, it talks about how Enlil was worshipped and no other god could even look upon him. That's how powerful he was. His word meant everything. And then Murdoch ended up taking over his pantheon, though, and getting all of his worship by the Babylonian period. It was all about him. So
Right.
Enki is the one that has really been demonized. And
Right.
you know what I mean? And he's really the one that saved us. I mean, if you look into them tablets, he's the one that went to his favorite human, gave him the plans to build a submersible, which is the story of Noah. And that's why we're still here today, because Enlil wanted to keep us dumbed down, slave. You know what I mean?
It rings throughout mythology, and I've started calling them Promethean archetypes. The serpents in the Garden of Eden that you mentioned, which is actually just Enki. Any celestial being or higher than human intelligence coming to the humans to give them a gift, fire, intelligence, the fruit of Eden, whatever it is, and then being punished for having done so is what I've been calling a Promethean archetype, and they are all over mythology. We don't know what they are. Some people subscribe to ancient alien theories. Some people say it's something to do with, heaven and hell or religious texts. And some people even say that it happens within, that it's a metaphor for our brain and anatomy structure. To that, you can speculate all day and you can't find out for sure. All we know is that the myths all over the world, all over the time periods, all talk about it in different names. This is what I've been saying lately is the names have changed, but the story is the same all over the globe.
Yeah, no, and you're 100% right about that. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, and guys, all of Joey's links are down below to his YouTube channel, Library of the Untold. Go check him out. Congratulations on hitting 100,000 subscribers, bro. I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you.
When I started following you, you were a little just right at hitting 50. So I've watched you double, and it's just awesome to watch you grow, man.
It happens fast, dude.
Yeah. But you do such amazing work, bro. You do a lot of research, and you do a phenomenal job. Your guy that helps you with the intros, Tom, he's amazing too.
Tom runs the channel. He does Kregon's Dark World, and he does comic books on basically YouTube comic books. And I seen his channel a while back. We connected over metal music. We used to play music together back and forth over the internet. He lived in a completely different state. And he would make like lyric videos for some of the metal music, yada, yada. And he jumped in on reptiles. That was the first video I think he made an intro for, and ever since then he's been it stuck, and it really created a dynamic for the channel where we have a cinematic intro and then we cover the facts, you know.
Yeah, I love it, man. And what's his channel so people know? You know, let's give him a shout out.
It's Kregon's Dark World, Kregon's Dark World.
Dark World. And my boy's got a new tablet there that follows him. That's why it zoomed in and zoomed out there.
I don't know why it zoomed though.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though. It's kind of cool that it's doing that. So
I'm just gonna do this the whole time. This is, at this point, it's just fun.
Yeah, so. Yeah. But and he's also got a channel on Truth Mafia, Library of the Untold. That link's down below too. All of his content goes up there, and it's all embedded directly from his YouTube channel. So his videos are the ones getting the views and all the counts and stuff like anybody on Truth Mafia. That was my whole goal, you know, to help other truth seekers get their work found, and people that I was fans of too, that, you know what I mean? Because I've always been really good at that. My people say, man, you bring us the best people to follow. And I like to think that I've introduced them to a lot of really solid truth seekers out here.
Bro, you're conspiracy ambassador of the internet. And for that very reason, that's why I've always been like, anything you want to use, I'm like, go for it. You know, anytime you're like, hey man, I'd like to use this clip, I'm like, don't even tell me about it. Take it away, bro. Like, go run it with it. And no, we all appreciate that very much. I've had a couple people in the comments say, Tom, you sent me. And you're part of the reason this happened, bro. So,
well, that's awesome, brother. I love to help that. And I want to shout out Matthew Lecox too. He's the one that really broke, and you can find his YouTube channel, guys, just Matthew Lecox. I put it, actually, the link is in that Glitch to the Halo video I did, which was his intro with my research on the eagle versus the serpent. And we're going to show a couple clips today. We're going to go, don't worry, we're going to go over the parents. I see everybody, who's the parents of Enki and Enlil. I got their whole lineage, who they were in different cultures. I got everything on them. So did you know, Enki was Poseidon, right? But people don't know he was also the Egyptian god, and I can never pronounce this right. But Patah. How do you pronounce that?
I guess that'd be Ptah, but okay. I call him Patah because there's a P in there, and I'm sick of not pronouncing letters. So yeah,
it's like, but it's Patah. And right. He was like a creator god in Egypt.
Yeah, there's an amazing overlapping in mythology with creators and trickster archetypes. It seems as if, for whatever reason, and this might have started with the whole Enki Promethean figure because of that mix-up where, you know, it became Lucifer. They painted him to be a bad guy because, of course, the winners write history. And trickster archetypes are often throughout the world in mythology depicted as creator gods. And that is really fishy. That's what kind of gives us a hint that whenever a figure that gives humanity a gift is either demonized or punished or whatever as the bad guy, we start to wonder, well, wait a second, why were they considered a creator then? The fact of the matter is, he did something that had to do with our anatomy. We were created by this figure. Why all of a sudden is he this demon, you know? And we kind of have to figure that out for ourselves, because if it is the case that the God of the Old Testament was the Demiurgos or some kind of version of it, right? Yaldabaoth. If that is the case, we might have to deal with and accept the fact that everything might be backwards and upside down. And that's a very difficult, emotional, almost, whenever I was writing Glitch in the Halo, I was having guilt inside of my heart, like just writing down these concepts, because it's whenever you read like the book of Job, or there's a million examples of people who have had this thought process, like I wonder who's actually the good guy here. These 10 commandments are a little fishy there in the first 3, right? And they all get just eviscerated. Their life goes to complete hell. Job is the best example of that. But that's why I turn to Jung when he talks about the book of Job as a way for Yahweh, as his name was back then, or as we might call him, Yotaboeth, in order to expand his consciousness, he had to experience suffering, but he doesn't have a physical body. So to experience suffering, he has to do it through a human or a physical being of some sort, somebody who is righteous. And this is where it starts to get dark, because if a person has a guilty heart and they suffer, there's no fuel in that. There's no way to actually siphon energy from that to grow your own consciousness as a deity or celestial being or whatever your favorite mouth noise for it is. But when a man walks in a righteous path and he endures suffering, there's a friction that takes place that causes whatever entity it is to be able to grow and expound like nourishment. As dark as it is, this seems to be what happened back in the day. And when you look at those first 3 of the 10 commandments in reflection to the book of Job, that's where we start to get really, we got a lot of questions, right? Why, if I had an ant farm in my house, why would I scream at the ants that I'm the only person in this house? Doesn't make any sense, you know? So
Yeah, no,
it's questions.
it doesn't make no sense. And like the old creator God of the Old Testament, like he was always blowing us up, and I mean,
Right.
it was kind of
Right.
crazy, right? But then when you realize that it's Yaldabaoth, probably Enlil, the same archetype,
Right.
it starts to make more sense, because when you look into who Enlil was, like you can see, and shout out to Enki, he's the one that gave us magic too.
Looks like
And
he gave him a semen too. Look at that.
yeah, he gave us semen and fertility. Shout out to him for that. I salute him for that one. But yeah, he gave us the, all jokes aside, he gave us the ability to procreate, and that was one thing we weren't supposed to have. And then
Right.
giving us the Kundalini lying coiled at the bottom of the 33 vertebrae that connects up to the pineal gland, activating that third eye, that Godhead. We weren't
Right.
supposed to have that either,
And
this,
we got to keep in mind, dude, that the Bible tells of the fruit of the Garden of Eden, and in Christianity they make it out to be an apple. I feel as if that's a little bit of a process of elimination, because the Bible doesn't say anything about an apple. However, in the Jewish Bibles, it's described as a fig. And of course, we know about mythology. It's going to use metaphors, allegory. And the fig, if you don't know, the fig, the fruit itself actually blossoms on the inside, not on the outside, like other trees do. And that is a perfect way to illustrate to a human being the pineal gland coming to fruit, because we can blossom on the inside rather than the outside.
100%. Yeah, it is a great allegory to break that whole thing down, right? And
Right.
that's where we get the caduceus too from Enki, that the serpent, and it's just been demonized throughout history.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Their father was Ansu, or Anu, my apologies, the sky god, and then
Right.
Enlil took over his pantheon, really. And
What's interesting about that Anu character is that seems to be Yaldabaoth. And what's even stranger about this, and I know you'll love this part because watching your channel, this is the kind of stuff that you dig. In the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the high evolutionary, right? That is Anu by all means, and he turns out to be a bad guy. He says he wants to create a race that is peaceful and harmonious, but then they find out the reason for that is he wants them to be docile slaves.
Yep. And there's always these 7 creator gods are like after all these cataclysms,
Always 7.
7. There's always 7 that show up that come back and teach them the knowledge. You ever notice that?
Yeah,
And the Aztecs, the Mayans,
right.
They always had these 7 creator gods that would show up, and that the 7 divine powers is Anu, Enki, Enlil, Inanna, Niana, Ninseg, and I'm not going to be able to say this one, Yuta Shamash.
Shamash, yeah.
Yeah, Yutu Shamash, or however the hell you pronounce that one. But so I think you're right. I think Anu was Yaldabaoth, and then his son Enlil took that role on after, because Enlil kind of really took his pantheon over when you read the mythology of it all. And he represents Jupiter in the Roman pantheon, right? His parents, An and Kai, sibling Enki, consort Ninlil and Kai. He was into raping chicks too. He raped a few of his like nieces. So this dude was crazy, and that's on his Wikipedia.
It's exactly like Zeus, right?
Yeah, he's totally into just violating chicks. So and then his Canaanite equivalent is El, which is the god of the Old Testament, El. It's Dagon and Baal.
Yeah, so, that's where it starts to get a little fishy right there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so this is the guy they were sacrificing kids to. Oh, that dude. I'm pretty much not down with him. And, I put all the source of the information on here for you guys so you can click on that. And this is all over on truthmafia.com. It's pinned to the top right now, Glitch in the Halo. And there's 2 Glitch in the Halos over here, because there's one on Library of the Untold. So, and I put the link to that down here. So, and here's it takes you right to his page and all his different videos, because he did the full breakdown on it. So when you guys watch mine, that little intro that you're seeing, that comes from his, and then he plays that intro and then does the full breakdown. So yeah, it's just phenomenal, bro, what you did. But I had to do a blog to it and really do all the research and connect all the dots for people, because that's what I love to do. You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah. Every time, whenever I see you scrolling through all these tabs, it makes me happy as hell. Like I see that you're digging it up. You got the images, and you're putting on a show.
Yeah, man. I like to be able to make it entertaining and educate at the same time.
Absolutely. Right.
I think it's very important. And then this gets into Tartaria too, bro. And it gets into the different global resets that we go through that seems to be tied to Enlil and his father Anu. And it's like every time humanity gets to a certain point of activating the pineal gland and awakening, they'll do one of these major global resets, like the Great Flood. Or the last one they say we went through was the mud floods. Right. That's where we were.
The one before that, the ancient Egyptian priest kings talk about what caused the Ice Age, which was so it was by fire that caused water vapor to go into the sky and black out the sun. Hindus and Egyptians and a couple other isolated cultures, supposedly from each other, say that we are living in the 4th world.
Right. And we're getting ready to go into the 5th world. I'm going to have to plug you with my boy. I think you did a podcast with him before, but I can't remember if he was on the one with me and you. Jay Dreamerz. Was you ever with him on one?
Dude, I literally just emailed him the other day. And so we're supposed to chat soon, because I'm going to be doing a Saturn sequel, but it's going to be focused on the separation of Saturn from being close to the Earth, as was castrated by Jupiter in mythology, to being far away. And I hit him up. I was like, so you're kind of he's got the YouTube on that right now.
He's part of the Truth Mafia too.
Okay,
he's
perfect.
Good friend of mine.
We did a podcast, it was with Donut Factory. But I would love to get on here with Jay. I want to have Jay on my show as well.
Yeah. Did Jay hit you back?
Yeah, he emailed me back. And so once that video comes out, it's going to be called Hex of Saturn Part 2. once the video, it's going to premiere live, he'll be in the chat, and then he's going to chat with us live after the premiere.
Oh yeah, Jay's phenomenal, man. And when it comes to plasma, he is the man. You know,
right,
these
exactly.
global resets, there's nobody that can break this down better than him. I mean, he's phenomenal. They call it many different things: the mud floods, the plasma apocalypse, pole shift, the rapture. There's certain people out there called the Phoenix phenomenon, and they think it's like this advanced humanoid civilization from inner Earth that has some type of HARP geoengineering technology that's causing these global resets. Kind of like
it's very interesting that they talk about them as coming from inner Earth, and I would love to touch on that on a moment. But please do finish. Sorry.
But no, you're fine. So I did this blog too, and there's several videos in here, guys, and this link is down in the description. This is only available on Truth Mafia. It's called The Old World Under Our Feet, and it's linked in that Glitch in the Halo blog because it all goes together. And this video is a new person I just found. My lunch break, I'm actually reaching out to them now to bring them into the Truth Mafia. Anyone that I find that's good, dude, you know I got to get them on the team because we got the best team out here. So we got to continue to keep that. I'm going to get you and B Dell together. B Dell 1104. That's his YouTube. He's phenomenal too. He gets into all the alien stuff and Enlil and Enki, and I think you guys would do so amazing together. I put him and Ishmael Perez together, and it did so good, bro.
Okay.
But yeah. I think you guys would do really good. I was just talking to him tonight. But check this out. So the Tartarians, they were like this Hyperborean civilization, and they were depicted way taller than us. And in this picture here, look what the Tartarian has in their hand, the 8-pointed star. And that's literally the star of Anu, or the star of Anana. You know, it's tied to Nibiru and the Anunnaki. So I found that very interesting, that it had that. And we go through these. So back during this time, this whole civilization was set up on Serpent knowledge and Enki's knowledge and free energy, like Tesla. So they say like these fireplaces that were in their houses, they weren't for fire, bro. They were to bring in this energy. So Tartarian fireplaces were in each one of these different homes, and they had these domes on the top of their house with these bars going up. And they say, you know, there's different sources that say it was red mercury in there, but then our government tells us red mercury ain't real. Different stones and crystals, and they were pulling energy right out of the atmosphere. And you know how like if a spider can stay in its spider web, it doesn't need to eat, it can stay sustained within there.
Okay.
Right? So that's the theory of it anyways. Well, they say located throughout various rooms of the home were connected to the chimney, facilitating the flow of energy. The rebar rooftop dome tower and the metal poles extending from the sides of the house collectively acted like a spider web, attracting and concentrating etheric energy throughout the dwelling, much like a spider, which can thrive without food or water as long as they remain in contact with the web. The Tartarians were able to, when they were in their homes, to go long periods of time without subsistence. So that's the theory behind it anyways.
I see.
It's very fascinating. And all these things on the top that are supposed to be like lightning poles, they were pulling this type of energy out of the atmosphere. And Nikola Tesla showed us this was possible, right? He showed us that you can do it. So they're in these civilizations are under our feet. They're just buried under all this mud. And they say like all these wars that we're going into, brother, Iraq, Europe, look at World War II. They literally bombed the shit out of Europe and turned it into rubble. And that's really what they say these wars are for. That's the theory behind it, that we're destroying the remnants of this ancient serpent knowledge in these civilizations.
There was terrorist organizations by the name of, well, they called them ISIS, which I don't subscribe to them being called that. And I'm not even sure that they were. But they inherited a great deal of money that they used to go throughout Iraq, which is, Sumeria today, which was Sumeria yesterday. And their goal was not to steal the Sumerian artifacts, but to destroy them. People would report seeing like the eye, half of a face of Gilgamesh shattered in the streets. And first of all, it's really fishy where they got that funding to get all those weapons and all that stuff available to break into these museums and take these artifacts. One of the museum directors is reported as saying they knew what they were doing. They walked right past the expensive fakes and into the basement and destroyed all of the stone Sumerian statues. The goal was to erase history by all means, not to steal it for money, but to erase it.
Yes, and so you're talking about which war when they went into Iraq?
Right after 9/11.
Yeah, no, you're right, dude. And you want to know what's funny about that, bro? So this was mainstream media, right? I've done a complete blog on it. And during that time period, they had just found the tomb of Gilgamesh. This ain't no conspiracy. The BBC was talking about it.
Right.
That they found the tomb of Gilgamesh and blah, blah. And the next thing you know, boom, we invade Iraq and no one's talking about the tomb of Gilgamesh anymore. And
Right.
like you said, they went right into the museums, pillaged that stuff. And then ISIS, that's what they were doing. They were going around destroying all, because they said they were that they were false gods, so they were destroying it. But I don't believe that narrative whatsoever. I believe it is these global resets, dude. We're getting ready for a big one. And when the whole code red situation popped off, that's the code word for our lockdowns we were on. When that whole situation took place, what was their talking point in the beginning? Every news source was saying it. The Great Reset, the Great Reset, the Great Reset, that's all they kept saying. You know what I mean?
I think they've kind of backed down a little bit since then, considering how much backlash they got. But I mean, who's to say, I'm very optimistic about the future.
Me too. I hope it gets better.
Well, same here. It's almost an unpopular opinion to have that things are getting better. But if you look at history ever since World War I until today, it's undeniably getting better. And people talk about, martial law and all these things. I feel like we are educated now to the point where that's not an option for them. And I know that sounds crazy because there's still a lot of people fast asleep, but it's spreading like wildfire. And if you zoom out real far, you look at the Yuga cycles, right? There's these dips where we have golden ages and dips. And of course, about 1902 was the bottom of the Kali Yuga cycle, the lowest that human consciousness could become. And we've been on an up from that ever since, going into, I think it's like the Tetra cycle. Now, I was talking to Asha Nanda. She's a Buddhist Zen guru, whatever you want to call it, Zen master. And she studied directly under Yogananda himself. She was old, bro. She was like 86 years old. She came on the show. And I asked her all about this. This is what I want to know about, right? And she was telling me that the Yuga cycles can be depended on. And she mapped it out for me. The pyramids, for example, were built during the golden age of this Yuga cycle. And the bottom of the Kali Yuga cycle, the lowest we can go, guess when that was? The Dark Ages.
Wow.
So it matches perfectly. The end of Atlantis was at the end of one of those cycles. And just before that was on the upward of the cycle as well. What is super interesting about that is if you look at like whales will beach themselves sometimes, it's because there's a disruption in the magnetic field of Earth. Sometimes an entire flock of birds will just fly into the ground because the Earth has a little bit of a glitch in its magnetic field and they lose that they lose consciousness for a moment. Humans are absolutely no different. We are one with the earth in such a way that we are the mind of earth. Just like that Forest, the song Forest by System of a Down. Why don't you know that you are my mind? You know, what she told me happens. And I don't know if I subscribe to this or not, because Andrew Collins talks about the Yuga cycles as being because of Cygnus, but both of them check out in their own ways. But she talks about gravitation, gravity being something we don't know what gravity is. And black holes are the master of all gravity. She says that our sun is on an elliptical cycle around that black hole in the galaxy. And she says that that is what causes these Yuga cycles. Basically, when the sun is closer to that black hole, we are closer to source. Therefore, our consciousness raises up. And whenever we take that egg shape, that elliptical cycle around and get further away from the black hole at the center of our galaxy, we start to dip in consciousness, and that causes these Yuga cycles. And when she showed me the timeline, and then how science shows, you know, how the sun kind of goes up and down. It's that wobble as well, like a sine wave, quite literally like a sine wave. Whenever we are staring down the barrel of that black hole, it happens to be those golden ages, dude. It's wild.
Yeah, that is fascinating. And yeah, the sine waves, that all gets into, I mean, the sine waves are pretty much the Masonic symbol. You know, it's also the sigil of Azazel. The sigil of Saturn is a sine wave. We were born into sin. We were born into sine waves. I believe Saturn is projecting some false hologram, and the moon is amplifying it, which that's what we're in. That's why the numbers work. When I break down the numbers, how everything's encoded through numerology, it's all tied to different elements on the periodic table. That 137 number, that's a number the Freemasons love, right? And the 47 by 90 degree Freemasonic compass, you add it up, it's 137. Well, in English ordinal, where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, you got hologram device 137, live forever, hamster wheel, mind control, butterflies. That's all tied to that monarch programming. Central unit is 137, and then it gets into different elements on the periodic table. But yeah, I believe it's all a huge simulation that we're in, bro. And it's some type of soul trap. We were talking about before we went live, the net of Endria, right?
Endra, right.
Yeah. Shout out to B-Dell. He actually got me really hip to that. B-Dell was breaking it down for me. But that soul, that net is what some people call the firmament or whatever. And it stops our souls from escaping this reality, getting recycled back in. And they show us that same narrative in many different films. Dark City. I don't know if you ever seen that one. You ever see that, brother Joey? Oh, dude, if you, everybody that comes on here, I show them this slide, and I mean, I probably got 1 million people to watch Dark City now, but it's just as good as The Matrix. Like, I don't know how no truth seeker out there hasn't seen damn Dark City, except that it wasn't as popular. So it's kind of more, you know, not too many people know about it, but The Matrix and Dark City, they both got that same Masonic allegory, and it's all the Antichrist, the hero, defying Saturn, you know, and Saturn is the supercomputer. And in Dark City, it's called Kronos, which is literally Saturn, right?
Right.
God Saturn. And then in The Matrix, it's Dos Ex Machine, or however the hell you pronounce that. But in all the movies, bro, they all got the injection into the mind. Well, that's what Elon Musk, our boy Elon, wants to put into us, the brain chip Neuralink. They all got the parasitic octopi. And this gets into Prometheus, the black goo, the whole situation with the code red when it first came out, that new variant they called the Kraken. And where did it go outside of Wuhan first? It went to Seattle. Well, what's their team there? The Krakens. You got to pay attention to symbolism, because symbols tell a story. And then they all have the scorched, darkened world in both of them. So they're in this artificial reality that looks like our normal world that we're in here, but really they're like in these pods that these entities are harvesting energy from them, and their whole world is really destroyed and darkened and scorched, and robots are running everything. It's like AI's running everything at the time, right? And in each one of them, they have the identical rooftop chase scene. They all stop bullets with the mind, bro. They got the 3 antagonists. They have the same exact spiral Masonic stairway scenes. It's kind of crazy how they'll use these same allegories throughout different films, right? It's very fascinating to me when I see stuff like that. But yeah, dude, I think the D-Wave quantum computer, the 5G, the smart cities, the smart grid, all of it's plugging into some other reality that they're feeding that energy into. And it gets into our DNA and all that. And that's why they're trying to roll out this 3rd strand DNA, the 3rd strand laced with that nanotech, a thin layer of golden nanotech, which allows them to truly plug you into the cloud, the Borg. And, you know, then there's no escaping. Right now, we can still escape and elevate beyond this reality. We can get out of here. But when they get us plugged into this, it ain't no escaping. And me and Paranoid American were talking about how they're kind of engineering society right now to where you won't have a choice but to upload your consciousness to the cloud, because you won't be able to live when it's 6, 7, 8G. You know, that shit's going to be so powerful. You ain't going to be able to live around that type of stuff, because it's just not made. That frequency is not made for our DNA, bro. It's not. Think of this, bro. The mass rollout of the electric grid, that was the Spanish flu, right? When the Spanish flu happened, when they rolled out the electric. Yeah, it's called electromagnetic frequency sickness. And then the mass rollout of 5G, who do you think rolled that out first? Wuhan, China. At the same time.
It's very, very thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah, very interesting, right?
You definitely tend to venture outside the realm of my comfort zone when it comes to a lot of that stuff, but I
get it. I venture outside the comfort zones of many.
Yeah. That's your level of expertise right there.
Yeah. That's my expertise, bro. But look at even the Operation Warp Speed shit that Trump rolled out. It's all the cube. It's all the black cube. It's all that cube symbolism, bro. It all goes back to Saturn. I mean, this is what I do best when it comes to numerology and symbols. I've been doing it for a long time.
What is Operation Warp Speed?
That's what Trump rolled out for the whole Code Red situation while we were on lockdown. So, and that was his symbol for it. Yeah, we're gonna roll it out with Operation Warp Speed, you know, and get everybody on the planet with that inside of them. So,
okay,
yeah, people think he's coming to save everyone. And look, last night I even said, gun to the head, Trump, Kamala. I'm going Trump all day, but I don't trust either one of them.
Of course,
I don't trust either one of them, bro. But I mean, I just listening to them two talk, I would rather listen to Trump talk than Kamala.
At least it's funny.
Yeah, that's what I say, bro. That's exactly what I tell people. I say, at least Trump makes me laugh. You know, he says stupid shit like the news. He says the news is fake. I'm on board with that. He says some other really crazy shit, but Kamala, man, it's like she's just spouting off a bunch of communist shit, and I can't get on board with that.
I can't say I haven't heard really anything from either one of them. I don't watch the debates. I don't even.
Me neither.
I don't watch them. Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Get out of here.
Definitely don't. Never. I haven't watched one of them yet. The only time not one yet. The only time I ever watched them was when Hillary and Trump was on there, because that was comical gold, dude. That shit is what made me even pay attention to politics. When them two were debating, he's like, dude, and Trump's a lightweight comedian, like how he does his timing and shit, you know, because I'm very comedic, I know. And with his timing, he is so on point. Like when he told her she was going to jail, she needs to be locked up. That was
he's an entertainer. That's what his job was before.
Yeah. You know? He's comedic gold. You know what I'm saying? That dude's timing is so on point. That shit, what he said to her, you need to be locked up. I mean, it was just like right on point.
It's certainly the clown archetype, you know.
Oh, it's the
Not
Joker.
to mention that he's orange, so
yeah, it's the Joker, and they even painted him. they painted him up as that before. He was the Joker in many different skits. So they even put it in your face, bro.
Interesting. I did
Yeah,
not know.
I'll send you a video on it. Yep. Anybody in the
Wild.
comments, could you let us know what skit Trump was the Joker on? Because I can't remember off the top of my head. But he was the Joker on one of the skits. He's that Joker archetype, that jester.
Right.
Yep. That's exact. People don't even realize these different archetypes that are playing out in front of us, and that's what it's all tied to. Multiple. I wouldn't even know what Kamala. I guess she's that. I mean, when you really look at the symbolism behind her and her name, Kamala, Kalima, it gets into that Kalima archetype. You know,
there's an attempt taking place to, I'm sure, make her out to be the hero archetype.
Yeah,
but the harder they try,
it doesn't work.
The worse it fails.
Yeah, it doesn't work. People ain't
Right.
buying it, dude. People ain't buying that one that they're trying to sell with her. It just ain't working. So it's interesting to see what's going to all happen. I mean, we got a couple days left. We got 3 days. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
3 days until there's an election?
Yeah. The 5th.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. And people are going out voting now. My boy Robert Safir, shout out to Robert Safir in Atlantean Gardens. He does phenomenal work.
Let me get on a show with Robert, dude. I've been watching his shit lately.
Robert's phenomenal, ain't he?
Yeah, yes. So he's one of those guys where, the same as anybody. I don't agree with everything he says specifically, but I watch his show and I find it to be absolutely fascinating.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, none of us are going to agree on everything. Me and you don't agree on everything, but we love each other, you know? Me and Donut don't agree on everything, but we can still have a conversation and not get on here and argue with each other. It's cool. I want to hear your theories.
Dude, I could not imagine these people, like, especially with what Graham Hancock is going through, man. Like, oh, my God, they just fight and they have all this hatred. And it's like, why can't we talk about this shit like people do, like sports? Be like, fucking, the Red Sox ain't ever sniffed a ring. What are you talking about, Tommy? Like, and then get back with, we laugh. That's what we're supposed to do because these subjects don't have to be sensitive,
No, they don't. And Robert usually does work solo, but we could definitely get him on here and plug him with you. Robert's so funny. Go look at his Instagram, bro. He went to vote and he's on his freaking phone and he's dressed up as a priest, right? His costume is the priest. And he's like, he's standing outside the California Masonic Lodge. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Robert? He's like, this is my voting facility, which it was. He went in there and voted at the California freaking Mason Lodge. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's where they're voting out in California. I wouldn't trust them votes too much.
Right.
Shout out.
Mark Twain once said, if voting worked, they wouldn't let us do it.
100%. That's what I'm on board with. It's like, they already got that shit picked, dude. But, I still tell people it's their God-given right to go vote. And I'm one of these people that if they vote for this person and that's who actually won, I would give my life to defend that freedom because that's what we stand for in America.
Yeah, sure.
Even though I don't believe in it, and honestly, I think Tommy should be the president for 2024. And I beat Kamala. We did a poll. Trump beat me by 30 votes, and Kamala, I blew her out of the water. And I'll show you guys the votes after, so you don't think I'm just spouting off some bullshit.
How'd you do? How'd you do against Jill Stein? How'd that go?
Jill Stein, I never went up against old Jill, but
she's hot, bro.
Yeah. I might holler at Jill and take her out on a little date for an older lady.
I would breastfeed from Jill Stein, 100%.
Jill Stein. Yeah, I can't see her ever being the president, though. Could you?
It won't happen, no, but it's fun.
Is she an independent?
I don't know. It's like a Green Party or whatever. I don't. I know about it because I think like memes or whatever, and I also like the idea of anyone being able to run for president. Whoever wants to can do it. That would be awesome, but that's not what we got. So
yeah, no, it's not. I see there's a story trending right now about a squirrel too. did you see that? Donut did a post on it about this freaking squirrel. I seen it this morning before I went to bed. I said, man, what is the media doing now with all these weird ass stories? You know, they got this one going on about after 7 years, Peanut, the squirrel, is taken away and put down. So they're talking about, you know, killing this poor little squirrel Peanut. And it was trending on every news source today. Very bizarre story for them to talk about.
We gotta get these squirrels off the streets, man. They're out here dealing drugs, man. Fucking stealing all the nuts. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Everyone get your BB guns. We got to go out there. We got to defend America. All right. We're being invaded by tiny rodents with poofy tails. All right. We got to stop them.
Yeah. Peanut is cool though, man. And Peanut, the squirrel, is 223, with skull and crossbones spelled out equals 3. So it's just a total 322.
Tommy's pulling the numerology up on the squirrels, bro. Yeah.
You know I got to. Yesterday they did one too. They said, 33-year-old woman jumps to her death off the Niagara Falls. And she jumped from Goat Island, which Goat Island's 322. And, you know, the whole goat, the Baphomet connection. I mean, it's just comical with these stories they think. But the average person is so stupid. They don't even see. I think a lot of them are engineered, bro. That was this one me and Donut did last night. And the girl that they said jumped, as you see right here, she has the inverted 5-pointed star Baphomet above her head. And she's wearing the monarch butterflies. That's on her Facebook post. But here, let me show you guys the vote poll that I did real quick.
Oh, by the way, while you're pulling that up, it was Paranoid American that we did a podcast with, not Donut Factory. That's my bad. Sorry, Paranoid.
Yeah, it was our boy Paranoid. Donut wants to come on.
I really liked him. I had a very pleasant time chatting with him. He was awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a Mason, 33rd degree. They invited him into the inner circle, which I warned him against because I told him he better strap up because it's going to get very
I'm not sure he's a 33rd degree Mason.
Oh, he is 100%. 110% he is. Yes, he is. I seen his correspondence where they invited him and everything. Yep, 100% he is.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
He definitely is, brother. But yeah, I just, you know.
You want to see something cool?
He's the only Mason that I mess with, and I still told him one day we're going to bring him over to Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Hey, don't say anything out loud, Tommy. I'm just going to show it to you visually. All right.
Okay. Let me see what you're showing real quick. Oh, yeah, I got one too.
You got one?
Yeah. Is that the Masonic Bible?
Oh man, come on.
Yeah, I already did a whole podcast on it. It went viral. It's on my Facebook.
Did you?
Yeah, my grandfather was a 33rd degree Mason.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I want to watch that now. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I just am reading out of it a little bit, showing different pages and stuff, but I never got into it. My mom always kept me away from it. She said it was evil as shit, and you know.
Well, they've been usurped. It's Manly P. Hall. I mean, he's got all the good nuggets, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that other organizations that are evil tend to take those nuggets and bend them to their will. And it's unfortunate. And it does happen. But, you know.
Yeah. I think my mom was correct too. You know, it might not have started out evil, but it has been infiltrated. The Illuminati infiltrated it. Adam Weishaupt, he was a Jesuit. That was built by that's the military branch of the Catholic Church. They infiltrated the whole Masonic movement. And so and they worship their God is the great architect who is Yald the boss. So I'm cool on all that. But
we can't have anything nice, you know?
No, we can't have. But the knowledge of it, the secret knowledge, I mean, even Paranoid American said, Tommy, you know more than most 33rd degree Masons. And, you know, Manly P. Hall, he wasn't a Mason. They made him an honorary 33rd degree because he knew so much.
Right.
And then they like, dude, you know, we're just going to make you an honor. And then after that, he quit talking about it, though. That's what pissed me off. After they made him an honorary Mason, he never did that.
Because you're not allowed to talk about it.
You're not allowed.
No. Talk about Rosicrucians and all this stuff. But as soon as you're in the organization, you can't talk about it. And that's one of the main reasons that I've never joined a fraternity of any sort, and I never will, because that spoils it for me.
Yep, I won't either because first of all, I'm not taking an oath. Second of all, that's what I do for a living is expose shit. And I would be the one to they say if you expose it, they'll come in your house and hang you from your home. They'd be trying to dangle me, but they would, I'll tell you what, they'd have fun trying that one. Cause I got shit that'll knock an elephant off its motherfucking feet. So they would have fun trying to pull that one off at my house. And dude, I got so many cameras around this bitch. You ain't getting in one of these windows, doors, nothing without alerting me.
We got to keep you safe, Tommy. You're a national treasure. God damn it.
Yeah. Well, trust me, brother. I'm sleeping with an AK-47 and a 50 round, so we're good. But
damn.
I'm good over here. But yeah, let me just show you this little poll real quick. So, Trump got 66, I got 48, and Kamala got 2 votes, dude. God. So the reason I did it is I said, I wanted to see because they said Kamala was winning. They're like, Kamala is winning in the polls. So I was like, I don't believe it. I want to see real quick. I'm going to do my own poll. And with these polls, guys, they only call up 200 Americans. That's what they're taking the poll from. Each poll, I looked into it. It's like 250 Americans. So we had about close to that amount here, about half of that we took from almost the same poll size. And I killed her in the polls. Look at that. Boom. I dominated her by far. So Tommy for president, dude. And I'm ending wars. I said, this is going to be what I'm going to run on. I'm going to end the wars, Joey. And so whenever we have beef, dude, I'll go into the UFC cage with their world leader, and whoever wins, that we come out. Okay, that you won. So you won the topic. If it was over oil, you get the oil.
Right. You get to keep Antarctica. Fine. All right.
Yeah, you won. So, and we fight to the death too. We fight to the death. Hand free. And I'm going in there tapping everyone. The only one I think I would have a problem with is maybe Putin. Because, he's a
straight man
black
killer, bro.
belt, KGB. Yeah. I was a purple belt in jiu-jitsu and competed at the national level. So I think I'd do all right with many people. But
what's the purple?
You're right up there with black belt. You're
wow.
Yeah, it takes a while to get to your black belt. So but yeah, he's a black belt in judo. So he does all the hip throwing shit, but I'd get him on the ground and snap his arm like a twig. And
you gotta give him the old dick twist, bro.
That's
the only way to take him down.
No, I put him in a triangle. I'd triangle his ass. You know what I'm saying? And just he would definitely go to sleep. But him and that Chinese president, I heard that Chinese dude's got some work too.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Oh, actually, they say the Japanese guy's pretty good too. And I heard the King of Spain is trained in martial arts. I don't know if that's true, but I didn't even know they had a King of Spain still until recently, dude.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's still a King of Spain. And there's all this weird flooding going on. Oh, look who popped in the house, Joey. Look who I brought to the panel. Dreamerz.
Dreamerz, what's up?
Yo. Hey, what's up, guys?
As he came up, I was just about to pull this out.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. I reached out to him. I said, Jay, we need your expertise over here, man. Can you pop in for a minute?
Yeah.
Jay, so Joey told me he reached out to you and you guys were going to do one soon. And he's been talking about plasma a lot lately, bro. And it being sent.
It's hot.
It's hot,
it's
right?
A hot topic.
So
this was an incredible synchronicity that I pulled this out. I just emailed him yesterday. He replied back, and now I'm on Tommy's show, and he pops up. It's like all the little dots are connecting.
Well, I wanted to do that for you, bro. I thought you'd be excited to see him pop in here and get to talk to him a little before.
Yeah, so I checked out. I never heard of your channel, and so when I checked it out whenever you emailed me, and the first thing I looked at was the Plasma Apocalypse video. I was like,
yeah,
oh, I got to see this. Good shares, man. Good
Thank you.
Shares. Those were really nice. I like all the visuals that you were putting up too, and some of the points you were making about it and questions, and that was cool. And then I also checked out that video where you're talking about like content creators that put in the work. I was like, yes,
I
Yes,
filmed
thank
that
you.
from my car because what happened, I was at lunch and somebody showed me a TikTok that had like 3 million views. And the TikTok video was the person looking at my video like this going, oh, damn.
Yeah.
And it was just, he didn't say anything or add anything to the video. He was just reacting to it. 3 million TikToks or whatever. I don't know if that even makes money, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh. So I had to be like, okay, shout out to everybody who works for it. You know,
Who's Jay pointing to?
he's pointing to Tommy, I think.
Oh, yeah.
He does that work. That's right.
That's
we got work. Right.
That's a lot of TikTok work right there. You got to hold your arm up for like a minute.
Oh, that's what.
Oh, yeah.
Right. They
No,
nod.
they make a killing on them TikToks, believe it or not.
Yeah.
They're eating over there, bro. Like you do them lives and people send you gifts and shit. One TikTok, I watch this one guy, he's making like no joke, like $500-$600 each live he's doing.
Right. Hey, I think it's cool though for a lot of us. Like I don't do TikTok really, and they're like advertising for me. Like when people chop up my videos or replay them or whatever, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I hear other people like chiming in on the subjects or whatever. Like when it comes to that kind of stuff, I like it when it's used for like truth seeking purposes and research purposes and sharing information and stuff. I like that. I don't really, I'm not a fan of, cotton candy TikToks or Red Bullers or, whatever, just people that are trying to get attention or, I mean, if anything, it's really a mirror of how base society has become. Just seeing all of the evil, satanic, perverted, base, weird, upside down, strange things that it seems like is just popular in the whole world, which is hard for me to even believe. But when it's used properly, and those of us use the tools that they're trying to enact as weapons against us, and we use that and we kind of infect the system and allow the truth to spread, I support that. I like that.
Yeah, like
100%, dude. I that's what I made clear in the video was it was like nothing against these guys, but shout out to the guys who are reading the books, digging up the library, going in their heart.
That takes a long time.
Yeah.
Not even just, researching on the internet or whatever, but like, some of us like myself, I'm cross-referencing with various actual physical books and dictionaries and things. I'm looking up stuff. I'm trying to get good visuals so that, because it's YouTube, people like visuals.
Right.
Yep.
Editing.
It says author under your name. What did you write a book?
Yeah, I've written 2. So I got they're the Ancient Oblivion series. And so the first one covers the bad news, which is, hey, the apocalypse is coming. Here's all the cliff notes. Here's what the plasma apocalypse even is to me. Here's my research. Just getting right to the point of various subjects that it encompasses. And then my second book I just released, that one's called Return to Hyperborea. And that one focuses more on, a famous phantom island that is depicted on being at the North Pole on countless Middle Age and medieval maps and stuff. Yeah, that's it right there. That's my book.
Yeah.
So that one gets into more theories about the ancient world, what things used to be like, how our world began, how cities first made their appearances, the lost tribes that spread out from paradise and became nomadic and circled the north or whatever, and then kept dropping south further and further. And then I especially get into like the terrestrial plasma. So the first book, that was more cosmic plasma or plasma that descends from above. This one's more about the opposite of that, which is good energy. It's charged energy from within the earth that erupts, that comes out in the form of these ionized gases. And it has the exact opposite effect as this divided energy that comes down from above. It has a unifying effect. It has a regenerative effect, and it leads into the time of magic and mystery, mysticism, energy, eternal life, the time of no death. It brings about monsters and mutants and superhumans, superpowers, stuff like that.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, there's no wonder that it's the terrestrial plasma that is helping us out, considering that we are one with the earth. We are the mind of earth. We're her children. So anything that's going to be coming from her is going to be nourishing to us. Whereas if you read anything biblical, or as me and Tommy were just talking about a moment ago, the whole story of the Sumerians or the Nephilim, things that seem to come from space, for lack of a better description, are sometimes divisive. Sometimes they're helpful, but sometimes they knock up all the women and we have giants. So it's like it gets a little tricky.
Yeah, it's definitely fascinating, right? And so Jay, I was breaking down, we were talking about Enki and Enlil and the eagle versus the serpent, and how you can see through different flags all these warring cultures, they were represented by this eagle. Even Mexico, bro, now it has the eagle with the serpent in its mouth or its talons, but back in the day, the Aztecs, they had the plume serpent and the 8-pointed star, which me and you've discussed numerous times, tied to Nibiru and all that. So what I think is, like, the cultures like Tartaria and these Hyperborean civilizations that you discuss all the time, I think that was built on this ancient serpent knowledge tied to Enki, and then it's been hijacked by Enlil, and they're the ones doing the global resets and, trying to keep that knowledge from us.
Right. I tend to agree with that. Like, all of the symbolism is a mixture. So even in this image right here, these are essentially the same entities to myself. It's just that the eagles become more of a symbolic cartoonification of the phoenix or things like that. And then also there's the symbolic element of death, and like ravens and eagles and vultures. Even the eagle is actually technically a vulture. It's in the vulture family.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's a vulture. It's just a classification of vulture that they call eagle.
I seen a video the other day of an eagle. It was a giant eagle too, try to snatch a child. It was crazy. I couldn't.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's another thing I'll talk about too. So check this out. In the ancient world, there was gigantism, not just humans, right? I mean, like, that's the first thing everyone wants to check out. Is like, oh, the giants, the giant humans, this and that. And I'm like, I researched that until I was out of gas, and I'm like, what else was giant, right? And I'm looking into animals, plants, freaking insects, bugs, other worldly monsters, these things that come up from the ground or drop down out of the heavens or whatever. And the gigantism is going to return to this world as it once was, so will it be again, but in mass. So much so, I believe, that it will just be a common thing. There will be no need. Let's say the apocalypse happens tomorrow. 500 years into that age or that epic, when everything is gigantic, that'll be normal. There'll be no need for you and I to sit down and write a book about, hey, future people, this is what giant humans were like today. That it would just be a moot point. Small people now, that would be a legend during those times. Tiny creatures, tiny people, like brownies and hobbits and
Pygmies.
Pygmies, Oompa Loompas, like however.
So, Jay, what made me reach out to you today, Joey brought up a subject, and I was going to tear into it, but I was like, let me see if I can get Jay on, and then I'll let him break it down. And Joey, you brought up about the vapor canopy being up in the sky. And when that vapor canopy was there, the atmosphere was more oxygen. So, Jay, could you break that down for us, how the whole vapor canopy situation?
Yeah, for sure. No, but before I jump into the vapor canopy, I just want to make the point. I remembered what I was talking about, the bird thing, right? So birds also will become gigantic. And if there is a decrease of weight and density of all objects, which I'm so far, I think there will be, that means things will weigh a lot less and stuff. So these huge, gigantic birds like the rock and like other, famous giant birds of antiquity, they would scoop up and pick up elephants, according to the legends, right? And then, they would drop their prey from high up in the sky to try to kill them or whatever. But there's also videos, because I've heard people say, oh, that's impossible. It's impossible for a bird to do that.
A deer and a wolf, an eagle pick up a freaking deer and a wolf. Swear to God.
Yes.
Swear to
and
God.
that's under these conditions. That's with their sizes today. Imagine whenever that's like 10 times bigger, under different atmospheric conditions. Yeah, they're going to, I'm not surprised. Like, you got the story of the pygmies, and they fought birds to them that were giant birds, which were the cranes and, whatnot. But anyway, so let's get to the purple dawn, or, it's connected to the vapor canopy, right? So I love whenever I hear people bring up the vapor canopy, and people have been talking about it for a long time, especially within Christian circles. For me, starting probably 15 or 20 years ago, I first heard of this concept of a vapor canopy. But I haven't heard a lot of people describe where it comes from. Like, where does all this vapor come from? How does it happen? You know, so that's really where I wanted to dive into, was the physics and the science behind how does this occur on Earth? You know, aside from just even academics, their versions are just fairy tales. They say once upon a time, 3 million years ago, there was vapor because things happen or whatever. Like, they're just making up a story too. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me when I consider, you know, their model and all that stuff. So in my model, I believe more of an ancient cosmology where we have like a dome, or there's a firmament above the earth. And if that's the case, then our world is pressurized, and the pressure constantly builds within a closed system that we live in due to all of the gases that are being released, and the life and everything that's procreating and then dying and turning back into gases and contributing more to the atmosphere. And then the earth itself just releases a lot of gas, especially through like radioactive decay and stuff. So the pressure in the world builds. The atmospheric pressure is building and building. And as the pressure builds, it directly correlates with the density of objects. So when pressure goes up, density goes up. When pressure goes down, density goes down. The same thing with buoyancy. Whenever you release pressure, buoyancy will increase. Did you guys ever do that like science experiment in school or something, where you had like a 2-liter bottle of water, and like I got a prize in like Captain Crunch or something. It was a little like scuba diver, and you put him in the 2-liter bottle and he'll just float right in the middle, right? But if you squeeze the 2-liter bottle and you put pressure on it, he'll sink to the bottom. And when you let go of it, he'll rise right back up, right? That's a perfect example of our world and our atmosphere when pressure is released, right? So when you put all that pressure gradually, gravity, or what's perceived as gravity, which is really just density increasing, it increases because it correlates with the pressure, right? So all objects, they go down to the surface and they become heavier and heavier and heavier over time. When in the past, the opposite would be true, that things were lighter and lighter and lighter going back in time. So whenever you have a massive release of pressure in the atmosphere, meaning that the fluid that is our atmosphere escapes by whatever means, right? I think it'd be a hole in the sky. All of that all that fluid that is our atmosphere has weight to it. And all of that weight that escapes, according to Archimedes' principle, will be equal to a new buoyant force from all around that lifts objects and makes them lighter and lighter and lighter. So one of the things that this also does is whenever you have rapid depressurization, the atmosphere is torn apart so quickly it vaporizes or turns into vapor. You can see an example of this whenever people are in airplanes and they depressurize the cabin when they're at high altitudes. Fog will instantly just roll throughout the cabin. And they test this out in the military on like C-130s and stuff too. But you'll just see fog instantly appear. And if the opening is up in the heavens, as I believe that it will be, then fog will roll down from the heavens and it will encircle the earth, and it will cover, probably more, I would guess, towards the northern hemisphere and then spread out as it goes. But this is exactly like in the movies, whenever they show you all this fog and how the fog is scary, because when the fog comes, so do monsters and otherworldly creatures and red lights and, like all of these things that are all always with one another, in fiction at least. So anyways, that's how the atmosphere becomes vaporous, is the sudden rapid depressurization of the atmosphere. We lose the atmosphere, and so it becomes vaporous and then the firmament actually fixes itself up after the neutral point, and then so the vapor is trapped in here, and it'll dissipate over time, right? But at the beginning, it's very vaporous, and those vaporous conditions also require us, or me, to ask what are the implications of that new condition that we've introduced into a closed system, because everything is connected within the closed system. So the vapor introduction is going to affect how sound travels, or how far light can go, or what, if there's shadows or no shadows, or all of these different implications from changing just one condition in the atmosphere.
What's fascinating about that is that it's not necessarily weird. If you look at the majority of planets in our solar system, they are a vaporous atmosphere. The gas is on the outside of the planet. Venus is a perfect example. We don't know what's below the atmosphere of Saturn and Jupiter, of course, but these planets have a rocky core, but it's covered with a thick water vapor. Might not be all water like ours was, but what's amazing is that if you look at a great flood, where did all that water come from? There's only one place it must have come from: the atmosphere.
Right. Well, I've got two theories for that too. If you're interested.
You know what's cool about us three too? Like
What?
Jay's into the flat Earth cosmology, I'm into simulation, and Joey's into the normal cosmology of it all. That's just cool that we can have this
I'm very stubborn.
Yeah, it's bridge building, you know?
Yes.
No,
like this is my island, that's his island, that's your island, and we build bridges to one another, you know, and we transport back and forth until it's family, you know.
It's a
but Jay's cool because Jay thinks, like, a lot of flat earthers, they don't think there's other realities. Jay thinks there is, like, the other planets are just other, like, kind of dimensions, and they have their own dome over them too. So I think that's fast. I like that theory. Before you get into your thing real quick though, Jay, what you were talking about with that energy in the vapor canopy.
Yeah. Can you make that bigger?
Yeah. Let me make this bigger for you guys real quick. And because I want to point this out.
I think I know what it might be.
Okay, so look, the upper bulbs found in the Tartarian streetlights in the homes of the Tartars may not have been made of glass. They could have been crafted of a type of quartz crystal. And in this, they say there was like different radium, quartz, mercury, that they were pulling in this etheric energy, right? And so it said that similar to the cross found atop of the churches, cathedrals, and mosques, the metal poles protruding from the tops and sides of the homes of the other Tartarian buildings functioned as etheric electrical antennas. These antennas harnessed the power of ether, channeling that free energy into the chimney. Air ventilation shafts or air ducts located throughout the various rooms of the homes were connected to the chimney, facilitating a flow of energy. The rebar rooftop dome tower and the metal pools extending from the sides of the houses collectively acted like a spider web, attracting and concentrating etheric energy throughout the dwelling, much like spiders, which can thrive without food and water for long periods of time if they remain in contact with their web. So could the Tartarians when they stayed in their home. And this is where we get the story of that Hyperborean civilization that could, go long periods of time without food or water. Is that, my question, Jay, is that similar to that energy that's going to be coming out during this event?
Yes. So definitely. So there'll be two types of energy. This is what I believe the Freemasons allude to as the year of light. Like right now we live in the dark. So it's a dark place. It's only light every once in a while because of a night light that we have called the sun and another one called the moon. But in the next age,
fires, right, Jay? They didn't have fires in these things.
I don't think it's likely. I think it's more like, they can, obviously they could use it for the way we do today. But what I see with a lot of this Antiquitech is that, and it's not just the Antiquitech, but it's also, history and historic records that we have that indicate that the atmosphere was and has been multiple times electrically amplified. And it's not just the atmosphere, it's the earth that is releasing energy in the form of ionized gases and stuff that go up through cavernous systems, and it contributes to the atmosphere and its electromagnetic amplification. All that means in layman's terms is that the sky directly above us used to be charged far more than it is today. And under those conditions, any electrical phenomenon is going to also be amplified. So for example, lightning probably wouldn't just be a quick flash under those types of conditions. It would last a lot longer and move slower and other things too. But these fireplaces and these buildings, for example, I see so much evidence just studying plasma physics and electricity and stuff, that the tops of the buildings specifically have what you see in those fireplaces right there on many. I featured like a local courthouse that's turned into a museum down
these
here in
little
Colorado.
Bowls and the thing, and they say there was mercury in them bowls, dude.
Yeah, they look like Hershey's Kisses kind of shapes or something. But see what that would do if what I'm saying is correct and energy was either pulled up from under the house and goes up through the fireplace, or if it's pulled down from above, just like Santa Claus, then the rounded parts of what you saw in the fireplace, they have one on each side. It would naturally create, so the rounded form, yes, those metallic rounded objects. Rounded metallic objects attract electricity. And so these two would naturally spark between each other, creating an arc, and it would just be a constant arc if it just constantly had access to an overly electrical atmosphere directly above it. So you would just have this warm arcing electrical log of fire constantly.
Those nipples are found in Peru on these stone walls too. If you look at, it's almost an identical thing. I don't know if you can see this, Tommy. I might not be pulled up on your screen, but I'll show you here.
Hold on, let me get rid of this screen so we can see what you're showing.
But the ancient world was not alien to this. This seems to be something that's been going on for. It's trying to follow me, but they have these nubs, and no one's been able to figure out what they did. They hypothesize that these were used to carry the stones, but not all the stones have them, and they primarily happen at the bottom, which is really weird, because why would you use them to carry them if you're going to put them at the bottom of this wall? Not to mention the fact that these gigantic stones seem to be melted into place.
Yes, and you can't even put a feather between them. And then there's certain stones that have quartz crystal in them, so they're amazing for conducting energy. And people don't realize that about stone.
And limestone. Limestone and quartz crystal is what powers a Rolex watch without batteries. It's the friction.
There you go, bud. So, and they even say, like, you can store more knowledge in a crystal and a stone than you can most computer chips.
Right.
I find so fascinating. Like, was that some type of ancient tech that was being used?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I feel like it would help us if we stopped, as a society, if we stopped projecting the modern world and the way of the world and its conditions onto the ancient past and say, oh, how did they do that under these conditions today? What if the conditions were different that allowed them to do things like easily lift heavy objects? Or let's say that the objects weren't as dense and that they were malleable. And then, the rocks that we have today weren't always as dense, and they were more like clay at a certain point in time, and people could just easily shape it, stick it together like puzzle pieces, move it. And then over time, as pressure increases, density will increase. These things get harder and tougher. And then you have things like the moon being introduced and the sun being introduced, which will help to cool and bake them over time, day after day after day.
That's exactly what Talbot talks about in the Saturn myth, this book. Something happened once upon a time, a long time ago, that everything changed. And I mean, like, not just the atmosphere, density, like the physics of things changed. Something in our solar system. Now, in his book, he talks about Saturn being way closer, as well as all the other planets. Almost like this, like Anubis cell is like more compact together. So gravitation in this case has a different effect on everything. Not only would things be lighter, but if we take an atom and compress it down in a laboratory, its entire physiology changes. The rules don't apply to it anymore. Almost as if you were like going to a black hole, reality comes off its hinges. It's no longer physical. It's almost dreamlike, Right. And in a way that ties together all three of our Earth cosmologies as one thing. Because if you're changing matter down to the subatomic level, that's Tommy's world. That's that simulation theory. And then as far as, the planets all being different realms, well, look at mythology. That's exactly how they're described, as all different realms. They use personification to do so. So really, we might be looking at a simple factor of modern science going so haywire with the scientific terminology that it's kind of ripping apart the ties of all these cosmologies that essentially go together like a puzzle piece,
Right. Yeah. And so that's, I see modern academics and the modern teachings that are just popular the world across as modern day myth, and that it is actually myth that, everyone is convinced that's the way of today. Fine. But I still approach it and I use it in comparative mythology. I don't just like dismiss it. Oh, that's a lie. Like a lot of truth seekers are real quick to just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
And I'm like, no, academics is a part of our history. It's a part of it. Everything has grains of truth to it. So I would be hypocritical to just dismiss all of academics and everything. I'm using what is, adding up across all avenues,
Right. It's just our most recent mythology.
Yeah. And if I'm correct in speculating that, the apocalypse is soon upon us, after that happens, it will be like if we go through a world changing event, whether it be a mud flood or a comet or, the sun or flooding or whatever, this modern world will be destroyed. And the things that we're doing right now, like talking to each other from across the world and stuff, will be rewritten down the same exact way, and they will follow the same exact patterns as what we now consider to be myth from a long time ago, where people talked about someone holding a rock and talking to someone else on the other side of a lake, or the myths that they had about monsters and part humans, part robots, and all of our technology and the comfort in the lap of luxury that we now live in, that's pretty much just taken for granted and manipulated as well.
I want to ask you, because that is a bit where we differ. Me and Tommy were just talking about this. I have a very optimistic view about the future. I don't think the apocalypse, if there's an apocalypse upon us, I feel like it's going to be good news. I kind of get this information from the yugas, the yuga cycles.
Yeah.
I feel like, yes, the world will be different, but it's not going to be devastating. It's going to be something that's actually an enlightening era for us.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd like to hear your take on it.
Well, it might take devastation to get to that enlightenment too. There might be some, what I mean?
Yeah, that's the balance.
Yeah, that's the balance of it all.
Right.
And that's my opinion on it anyways. But so I wanted to point something out to you guys too and get your feedback on this. So I've been researching these tiny magnets in our brain lately, because just like we have chakras, right? The earth has these chakra points known as dragon lines.
Mm-hmm.
So it has its own energy grid. The ancients knew this. And so I started researching, do we have magnets in our head like birds do? And yes, we do. We have tiny magnetic particles in our brain. These particles are made of magnetite and iron oxide, and they are found mostly in specific areas like the cerebellum and the hippocampus, which are involved in balance, memory, and awareness. The purpose of these magnet particles is still a bit mysterious to mainstream science, but it's thought that they might help us sense the Earth's magnetic fields, like these energy points, these dragon lines. In birds, you know how birds and animals, they can tap into that. That's how they migrate, right?
Yeah.
So I found that fascinating, bro. Sea turtles, different animals. I found that pretty fascinating that we have that in us as well.
Yeah, and that's totally correct according to my research too. That there's magnetite in the body, because I was researching Mount Meru and lodestone mountains and magnetic mountains and stuff.
That's
and I'm
what
like, well,
on it too.
I'm like, if we came, if some portions of humanity originated or came up out of the earth, out of these what I believe to be plasma volcanoes or magnetic mountains, do we have magnetic, remnant in us? Like, if we're made of clay, like, the Bible says we're made of earth and stuff, I would expect there to be little pieces of magnets in us that sort of direct our path and we can use for different reasons. One of those would be finding our way home. And also the birds are up there where the electric current is probably a lot stronger. The fish are down in the ocean where that has a bunch of, electrolytes in it that's allowing the current to be stronger. So it's probably a lot easier for them to pick up on the Earth's natural electric currents and to develop ways of like seeing it, But yeah, the magnetite is all throughout the body, and it's possible that it's kind of been slowly rid out of our system by ourselves.
Something turned it off.
Yeah.
And not to mention that the pineal gland is piezoelectric. I mean, quite literally, there's that word electric, and the pineal gland, whenever you do your meditation, your Kundalini breathing, and you squeeze your butthole and you bring that energy up your spine, and something lights up in there, you start having funny dreams. You start having intuition, these strange, almost like little specks of enlightenment, but they're specks. And it's like, what happened at whatever point long ago at the same time as whether it's the Garden of Eden or the flood or something like that. Something came and switched us off. And then I mean, you got that junk DNA. That's fishy. So
Right.
now I'm not one to jump into ancient astronaut theory, but I mean that chromosome number 2 thing where we have that switch, it's like that break in the chromosome that they can detect. And this is not like pseudoscience. This is where you have real scientists looking at the genome going, something happened here, and we're going to call it chromosome number 2. We don't know what happened, but there was a change, you know? And then if the solar system was different once upon a time, vastly different, I wonder if that goes with they called the planets, they personified them, Shemesh, Kronos. They gave them names. That leads a person into ancient astronaut theory real quick, but it could be one and the same. If something happened like a plasma apocalypse and there was a discharge of electricity between planets that caused them to go spastic like pool balls, we would be affected just as much as the solar system.
Right. And that takes us back to the question that you asked a minute ago, which is like, the topic we were talking about, like if it's a bad news thing or if it's a good news thing or whatever. So my view on it is that it's good news. Like I fully believe it's good news. It sounds scary and intimidating at first, so it can be very frightening or whatever. But I completely see it as the modern system disappears. Everybody gains their true freedom to live off of the land, and travel however they see fit and live however they see fit. But
like the Hopis say, right, Jay? They say the ones that get back to the ancient ways, they will live and not be destroyed. But the ones that stay like stuck on technology and all this shit, keep going down this route, it's going to be destroyed.
They're dependent upon technology, but in the world that once was and the world that I believe is on the way, which is the same, technology is it's unnecessary. There's no need for it. When you have telepathy, you don't need a smartphone, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like when your neurons are firing off and you're using 100% of your brain or something close to it, rather than like 10% or whatever we have right now, and the magnetite in your body is tuned into electrical signals and currents and stuff. It's like people gain superpowers or abilities or things that we just consider to be, pseudoscience these days. But to me, that's an enlightenment. To me, that's like, for example, one of the last times that I think that this, it's like a polarity flip, but one of the last times that I see strong evidence for it was during the Dark Ages. Right. And people were building castles and their architecture reflected that they were manipulating the electrical currents in the air using domes and spires and whatnot for their benefit. And then at the same time, and then they try to present us with a story that, medieval England was just full of muck slinging, mud walking, homeless people that didn't speak, English very well or had access to writing or books or anything. But meanwhile, in Islam, that was their golden age. Islam doesn't seem to hide that particular, time or whatever. And I think that there's powers that fight to try to hide, like, for example, the evil that I see permeating the world today. That energy tries to hide that there is a good time in the past. Why? Because if it's cyclical and we figure that out, that means that we have something to look forward to. That gives us, it pumps us up, and it empowers us, and it gives us more courage and to hold on and to get through these times. And it reminds us that we were once powerful and that power will return.
Right. And that's scary to anyone who feels like they're in control. And what's amazing about what you said about, the magnetism in the body, if you take apart a cell phone and you look at the components that make it work to where we can talk over the phone, it's quartz crystal, gold, and electricity. And it's the same exact things that we have within our brain. And in the ancient Egyptian times, whenever they wanted to defeat a pharaoh, wanted to basically become immortal, live forever, before he could defeat Apopis, which is the flesh, the serpent, he had to drink this gold kombucha like this kind of like tincture, a concoction that amplified so much gold in his bloodstream that it was going to like fire off in his brain. The hieroglyphs seem to show that almost like they weren't superstitious writing. It was like almost an equation, kind of. And the pyramid is an exact reflection of that. In fact, the hieroglyphs say that the pyramid is a reflection of an Egyptian pharaoh. That's why we thought they were tombs once upon a time, kind of ignorantly. But the pyramid would work as a way of firing this plasmatic discharge of consciousness from the pharaoh into the star, whether it was Sirius or Orion or whatever it was. But it had to do with plasma, electricity, gold, and quartz crystal. We have it built in already. And it seems like the pharaohs were able to tap into that. And as Tommy just showed a moment ago, become superhuman in a way that we just don't understand anymore, you know?
Yeah, right. Totally. And even they had concepts of superhumans back during the medieval times too. They rounded up the people who appeared to have some sort of power or be blessed by God or whatever.
Right.
And they went out on a mission. Like it was a spiritual war. I don't want to say a holy war, but it was a rounding up and a collecting, and not just collecting them, but making examples out of them by publicly torturing people that oftentimes didn't even appear to be able to feel pain. So they had to torture them in ways that frightened them and others more than just actually physically caused pain or injured them, you know? And then after that, it seemed to have went and rounded up all their children. And that takes us to like orphan trains and all that, you know, all that crazy stuff.
That's wild, because I've always been confused about the witch hunts and the Inquisition and the torture of these people in the name of Christ. And it's almost as if, as always, history has been changed. Not all the way, just enough, just a little bit to make us docile with the history. Be like, oh, of course they were religious fanatics. We have those too. Right. Yeah. But if you dig deeper, it's almost too intense for that to make sense. And if they were hunting down people who seem to have, I mean, if Wim Hof lived back then, he's a goner. They're taking him away. Right. But he's one of those dudes where he can turn his pain off. He can turn off he can manually control his heart rate. Yeah. He can change his body temperature. It's witchcraft, right?
Right. And these are just small examples of power. Imagine when it's amplified, you know? So a lot of these people I have found, even, you know, if you go to like a biblical college or something, they teach that during these times, immediately after Jesus's crucifixion, that the Christians went underground, and like they quite often went underground into caves and stuff. Literally. So, and also witches and wizards and stuff, all the legends that, you know, basically say that they often, you know, set up camp in caves and stuff. And you have the Oracle of Delphi, and then all these cave connections. These to me are what I call in my newest book, places of power. Places of power are, you know, those places within the earth, just like Tommy put up the picture of the dragon lines and all that stuff earlier, right? These are vortices, earth vortices, and they're physical as well. I believe they're physical as well as just energetic, right? That they're in these places, you can find deep cavernous systems that go all the way down into the earth, like little routes or blood vessels or something like that. Right. And the people that inhabited them became powerful people that had telepathy and, you know, like didn't feel that much pain because their skin was constantly regenerating and stuff, and all these other things. So they came out of these places. Now let me connect another dot. If there are such places that are cavernous systems or caves or openings that go into the earth, that's one of them. Yes. If there are these openings, right? I'm so excited right now. Hold on. Okay, so if there are these openings in the earth of various sizes, okay, some are small, some are really big, etc., right? Right. And you have the reason that they're powerful, okay, is because they're charged physically from plasma or electricity, we'll say. That the plasma shoots up and out, okay? It's a current and it's a fluid, so it will shoot up and out, and people will see poles of light in the heavens, or, you know, sky beams or whatever. Pyramids. Yes. So check this out.
Tommy, if you put that picture up one more time, I don't know if you're quick with it or whatever, but I might point out exactly what he's saying. The pyramid of Cholula is right there on that particular chakra right there on South America. And
Yeah.
it's got 5 miles at least. That's what we've mapped out so far of tunnels. And that energy, it seems to siphon up, just like he's saying, I mean, into, and maybe that's what the pyramids were all about, you know?
Yes, I believe so. So check this out. The word pyramid means pyre, which was the ancient word fire or light, and then amid, inside. It's full of light. It's a hollowed out. It is the it's a volcano. So basically, like, natural pyramids are volcanoes. They're that's why the top is always missing with the Illuminati, that they have an unfinished pyramid. It's a for me, it's a plasma volcano. So the energy shoots up. And if this is a time of, the sun has just gone out, the moon has just gone out, the stars fell from the heavens and stuff, people flock to these lights. They're the only sources of light just after the time of darkness. So people encircle these lights. They meet at the pole. They go to the bar and they set up camp all the way around them. They become the strong poles, or the polos, or the metropolos, or the metropolis. These are the first cities. Yeah, these are the first cities where people settle in these areas that have these small versions of Mount Meru that has the largest light and the largest, plasma volcano, or, mountain, hollowed out mountain at the center of the world. So these are all small little versions of this. And if you look at all these places, oftentimes there's tribal people that have ancient myths that talk about how in the beginning they were nomadic and they came up out of the earth and they were scattered and they wandered about, and their God told them and said,
Hey, Jay,
is that
feedback from your mic, buddy?
Oh, shoot, am I crackling?
It's like doing a weird.
Okay, my bad. I put it back a little. Is that better?
It's still. Can you guys?
Is it a deep sound? I hear it.
Yeah. It's very weird, Dick. I can't.
Is it like doo 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 doo?
Yeah.
What the hell? I just heard it.
I know.
You got the vocoder on there, bro.
It just started doing it like not that long ago either, so it's not too bad.
Tommy, check this out. I know Tommy's gonna love this part, but speaking of these underground, where they followed these lights, right? If you read The Kingdom of Agartha by Saint Yves, it talks about these travelers, right? Whether it be from a catastrophe or whatever, they would meet. And it says during the Great Prayer Days, during this celebration of the cosmic mysteries, all those sacred hierograms are recited in a tone little more than a whisper inside the immense underground dome. A strange acoustic phenomenon take place on the surface of Earth and in the skies. Travelers that wander far during the light of day and on clear nights come to a halt, both man, beast, anxiously listening. And then it talks about Tartars. Whether Arabs or Buddhists or Brahmanists, Karaite Jews, Afghans, Tartars, Chinese, all travelers respectively gather their thoughts, listen in silence, and softly utter their orisons in the great universal soul. A veritable pyramid of light enclosing the bond of an impenetrable secret.
I like that. What book is this?
Can you turn me on the screen? It's.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's The Kingdom of Agartha by Saint Yves, and it's one of many books about Agartha by authors who did not know each other, who describe very similar things. Everyone knows about my love of Edidorpa, that book, but also The Smoky God.
Jay loves that one.
Yeah, Edidorpa is good too. If you can follow how it's written, the style of speech is a little different.
Right.
Yeah, it's old world. They had better vocabulary back then. Basically.
Yeah, that's for sure. But that's wild to hear, because Jay, you have not read this.
No.
Or see, and what you just described is literally smack in the middle of this book. I got my little all over here. But there was something going on underground, and it seems like the people who were advanced went underground for good reason, because the surface is subject to a lot of catastrophe. It would make sense that but it would make sense that they would go underground and keep their technology safe. And I guess that would be this place called Agartha. And if that is so, and quite literally true and not allegory, that would indicate something really special about these USOs, the UFOs that come from the water. It's, if you are going on thousands and thousands of years of harnessing your technology without the global resets or, you know, solar flares, meteors, volcanoes, all this madness that happens on the surface, you would literally take on a new physiology, not only mentally, but anatomically.
Right. Yeah. It would, people would adapt, and then you'd have extreme adaptations, you know, in more extreme environments or whatnot. And that also takes us to like this concept of mutants. And I mean, it's all throughout if there's any truth in movies and stuff, like I think the mutants and this concept of like there being like a sudden just burst of mutants in the world and stuff, that I've also seen evidence of that in the ancient past where there were mutants. And I'm not just talking about like classic, you know, Greek stories or whatever of like, you know, strange, you know, what do you call those, chimera, whatever.
Right.
But in the Middle Ages and stuff, there was whole regions of people, tribes like the dog-headed tribe, like, and these are all attested to throughout various ancient historic manuscripts where, you know, explorers, nobles, common people, all sorts of people across the world said that there's tribes of dog-headed people, or tribes of the Amazonian women, or islands of only women, or, you know, like these types of things.
Well, even to this day, so they took electromagnetic radiation, like that comes from Cygnus, right? Because we know that neutron stars give off a very powerful electromagnetic radiation, and they kind of simulated it in a lab and tested it on fruit flies. I mean, this is 10 years ago. They were able to change and mutate the genome of fruit flies with the electromagnetic energy that would come from Cygnus potentially.
Yep. Yeah.
And it goes to show you that this is not science fiction. So it seems as if myth might not be so crazy if we can do it in a lab today. However, like on a scale of talking about chimeras and stuff, you would have to really have some adaptive powers, which brings us back to the whole, we've been shut, the junk DNA, you know, something,
right.
We've been shut off, and now maybe we're not so sensitive to it anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And also I like to think about this too. If there's some sort of flash event that instantly or very quickly impacts our adaptation within our DNA and our cells and stuff, what kind of impact is our lifestyle and how we've been living and programming my individual body now, and my diet and the things that I'm putting into my body? How is my body going to figure that out when it's trying to make the best version or adapt quickly? Just like in the movie The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, he gets a little foreign DNA in his pod, and the plasma that's in his pod is just trying to make sense of it. And so it creates this mutant, horrific, you know, version of the man and the fly.
Damn. Yeah, they sneak it into the fiction. I think that's like Tommy's expertise, but that's very interesting how myth, science and fiction go all hand in hand like that. Yeah. If anything like that did happen, I would want to be ready for it. I just don't know. Like that's wild. I guess eat spinach. I don't I don't know what the key is.
Well, for me, the initial thing is your energy, regardless of diet, right? Because our energy can transform our bodies and food and all kinds of other stuff. So being a good person is first and foremost for me. And then we work on what we are able to that comes next, you know, that's within our means or whatever.
That makes sense. And that goes with what, I mean, the Bible says, well, with every religion, by the way, about the righteousness, walking that path. Even everything from Christianity to Buddhism to Judaism, they all talk about the same thing, which is walking a path of righteousness. They call it the middle path in Buddhism, you know, but just being self-aware. What Carl Jung called individuation seems to be the same thing, just different names, same story, where that energy that you are personifying within, it seems to not overlap, but even supersede things like nutrition and exercise, which is all good things, but like you said, secondary.
Right. Tommy, I was going to also comment on, I didn't even see what the topic was, like the whole Enki versus Enlil thing. So I'll just say, like, to me, Enki, the Lord of the Earth, represents, like I said, the good earth energy that shoots up and comes out of various places. But Enlil is the cosmic one. Enlil is the evil one, and there's a fight between them. They're seen as brothers, right? And it's just energetic between the plasma that divides, and it divides itself as it spreads out and comes down into the world, and it grounds itself, and it's free to roam about the world, versus the energy that comes up terrestrially that does not move, that is dependable. It's always in the same spot. These gods tend to protect the same areas and lands and stuff because they can't dance about. They're connected to the heart of the earth, which is expelling all of these gases. So they will always be in the area of those places of power. And in those places of power, or on top of them, I should say, not only did you have, like, the ancients that carved out massive cities underground, like human ant colonies or whatever. But and those are interesting too. But you also have, like, cathedrals and buildings of power that are made on top of these places to harness the energy, making sure there are no open huge windows anywhere, that they're all closed all the way around, and then lining the walls with things that it can affect the vibration inside of that building. And then you put all your dead people, or your nobles and your noble dead, down under that building in catacombs, right? If it's a house of God, and God is not supposed to be around the dead or the profane or whatnot, what are the dead people doing underneath so many places of power or cathedrals or whatnot? Because it seems to me the answer is simple. They hope to bring them back to life. So they put them in the place that they know or expect to be, to have an influx of that power one day, to regenerate them.
So, hey, Jay, see if you could unplug your mic and plug it back in.
Yeah, my bad. I'm so sorry. I don't even know what's going on with it.
I'm my audio is decent over here. I don't.
Yeah, yours. No, it's Jay's. It's coming from Jay's mic.
I mean, I can hear him good.
Yeah, no, I can hear him good too. It's just like a weird, very slightly.
He's got auto-tune, bro. He's modern. He's keeping up with the new age, man.
Yeah, but no, that theory you have with Enki and Enlil being the plasma, that's fascinating too. So Enki would be the Jesus Christ plasma, the blue, and Enlil would be that red plasma, right, Jay?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, I can't hear you. I gotta get some new equipment. That's what that is.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool because I mean we're coming into 2 hours. No, it's fine, buddy.
I don't know. I gotta look into that.
What do you think of Robert Temple and his work lately? Are you familiar?
No.
Oh, bro. Okay. Me and you, we're gonna talk. We gotta chat. All right. So when it comes to plasma, dude, Robert Temple has got this shit on lockdown. From everything from ghosts to ectoplasm to the Kordaluski clouds on either side of the moon, to cosmic rays. I mean, everything. So he talks about plasma in such a way that he ties myth together with science. And I mean, this dude, he digs deep, dude.
Is he the one that says it's sentient?
Yes.
Yes, I read some of his work. Yeah, that's fast.
He's the one who got me in big trouble. Huh?
I was telling Jay about his work a little bit. Like,
even
the angels and the demons being plasma and what we're seeing with the UFOs. Matter of fact, I think Donut read some work of his too, actually, Donut Factory.
He was the first time I found out about Moses when he talked to that burning bush. The Bible doesn't say bush. It says that which was like a bush. And I've always thought it was like acacia, like a DMT thing.
An acacia bush, which is rich in DMT. Yes.
Right. And I'm down for that. I like that because it said it didn't burn, and that makes sense. But the way Robert Temple brings it up, he's like, this is a plasma, this is ball lightning that could speak. Whoa. And then to back up his claim, he lists 2 chapters of examples of proven cases of ball lightning that move right angle against the wind, climb a wall, go through walls into a jet liner, and they'll stop in front of your face and move around curiously. They seem to be sentient. If they're not sentient, the random sporadic nature of what they do is impossible. you know.
No, yeah. Then they interact with our electrical fields as well too. It's not like how we would just see a physical object and kind of consider it. They have like predator vision. I like to call that, like how the
Right.
predator sees like in all those colors and stuff. So they
Right.
would more likely see through electromagnetics, and they would be looking at us electromagnetically. And I think that the time's coming when not only will there be like long slithering serpentine plasmas in the atmosphere and stuff, but also various sizes of balls of plasma that are self-sustaining, and they can just move about, and they stay way longer than these ones do today, and that they will be attracted or repelled by certain energies that people themselves give off. So if a person
Right.
gives off primarily positive vibes or negative vibes, you might have Attack of the Killer Tomatoes in real life, where this giant red ball of glowing electricity is just kind of rolling your way because it likes you, because you're an evil person, and it's attracted to all that bad energy, and it's coming to kill you basically because you'll get electrocuted or whatever. These are like
Right.
the Valkyries too, like in
Dude, this is
Norse mythology.
This is so fascinating that you guys are talking about ball lightning, because I'm trying to find this video right now. I actually got a video of it rolling, dude, down a railroad track. It looks so crazy. And, everybody that watches me knows I'm not super into aliens. At one point, I thought they were total bullshit, but now I'm starting to, think there is something there with these entities. But I think I look at them different than most people. But the one time I had an experience, dude, I was sleeping in my room, right? And it was I remember the time because just numbers stay in my head. And it was 3:33, and my dog's growling at the freaking wall. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, bro? And I look over at the wall, and he's just like growling at it. So I'm like, man, what is out there? And I'm on the second story at this time. I look out the window, and I swear to God, on everything I love, guys, there's this giant orb coming down over the top of my trees. And this is it for people in the chat. There's a lot of people in the chat right now that were in this live video. It's when I lived in Massillon by the railroad track. So I go live instantly. I go outside, and they actually took this YouTube channel down because of this freaking live. And the 2 days after it, they took it down. But thank God a couple of my moderators screen recorded it and kept it. But so
Damn.
the orb's coming down. It lands in the freaking in the woods there, bro, and it looks like something opened up and entities come out. Now the entities look like pure light, but they had they had like a figure of a human, but they were pure light. I couldn't see their faces or nothing. And they were 15, 16 foot tall, almost like super tall, because they were standing next to the trees. So I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is going on right now? And I couldn't see their face or nothing. But the next day, one of my moderators, she messed with the lighting, and she changed the lighting spectrum on the image, and you could see their face. And bro, I swear to God, one of them had a fucking eagle looking head, like the depiction that I make Enki
You
look
got
like.
this video?
Bro, it had a head just like that. And then another one looked like a jester, kind of reminded me of Loki, what Loki is depicted as. And then there was another one, he looked all like distorted. His head was turned sideways. He kind of reminded me of a damn demon. But I look behind me, I'm on the live. I'm like, guys, can you see this? And everybody's going nuts in the chat. The video starts going viral. I look behind me, and there's a freaking ball lightning rolling down the railroad tracks, bro. It's about the size of a basketball. And that's when I ran inside. I said, sorry, guys, I'm out. I mean, that's when it was. And this is way pre-AI,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you're not alone in that, dude. There's whenever I did that Science of Heaven plasma video, and also the ectoplasm video, there was comments from people who were like, I'm so glad that you're saying this, because no one believes me, blah, blah, blah. So many people see ball lightning in such strange, this is alien abductions happen, but times 1,000 people see ball lightning. And it's a thing where the common person still thinks that it's pseudoscience, even though if you can check with mainstream science nowadays, yes, ball lightning is a real thing. It condenses and it comes up to people. It will come up to you, and it will seemingly say hello. And what this does for biblical stories, Ezekiel, Moses, mythology, everything. That's what caused Robert Temple to say, what if a lot of these so-called conspiracies, UFO lore, aliens, mythology, biblical stories, biblically accurate angels. He's like, what if it's all due to this plasmatic sentience? Whereas reading it at first, you're like, okay, it seems to blanket everything. So it's almost too much. It's like, you can't explain everything with this one thing, right? But as you read the book, and I mean, it's an 800-page book, dude. By the end of it, you're like, oh my God, like this word plasma that we have, a scientific term, might just be the newest word we have for what they've called angels, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think so. It's a strong possibility, especially when considering the different classes or choirs of angels.
Right.
I've done like probably 2 or 3. I definitely did one about the cherubim. And I made a correlation between the cherubim and what we call sprites today. But under an electrically charged atmosphere, those sprites would look and act a lot different than the ones that would just flash really quick. And then below them are basically balls of plasma or orbs and stuff, which are these wheels within wheels and toroidal fields that are, folding in on themselves or following their own current that's self-produced or whatever.
Right.
Seraphim, like the fiery ones.
The Ark of the Covenant is two seraphim, if I'm not mistaken, facing each other, and then there's an ark. That's why it's called an ark, because
I think they're cherubs. I think, and they're covering their wings, touching each other over the Ark of the Covenant. Now, my theory on that one in particular, the one that's like famous for being in the Indiana Jones movie, because it's all very symbolic too. Just the way that they depict those cherubs. And okay, let me back up. My theory on the ark itself is not so much that it's like a chest or a container or it's in some underground facility or something, but more, I'm not saying that's impossible, but I'm saying right now, for me, the Ark of the Covenant or the Ark of the Promise or the Ark that contains these treasures and stuff is symbolic of this holy mountain, which is also a container, which is a box, which is a container or whatever, which is hollowed out because it's a plasma volcano, as I call them. And that one would be at the center of the world, Rupus Nigra, Mount Meru, etc. And it creates, if it's magnetic in nature, it creates a little dome around itself that will go out, to a certain distance probably to the edges of the surrounding island. And that dome of magnetism would trap in a lot of the plasma that's being released, so it would actually fill it up, and it would start to circle around, and you would see plasma that's following a current around this island and covering this container or this ark, the seat of God, the throne of God as well. Sometimes these things are called those things too, but that these the cherubs also act. See, that's like two-dimensional, those cherubs. But I think that it's the same thing as the sword that turns in every which way, the fiery sword that guards Eden. That's the same thing as the cherubs that cover the Ark of the Covenant. And it's also the same thing as the Ouroboros that encircles the world. It's not, there's two different ones. There's one that encircles our world, I believe, which is the plasmasphere, as academics calls it, around our world, but also a mini version that goes around the Garden of Eden itself and encircles Mount Meru. And people, can see plasma actually moving about and chasing its own tail and arcing over this holy mountain or whatever. And then the mountain itself, especially like Sinai and these Olympus and stuff, they're said to have light that emits from them. That there's great thunderings and lightnings like never seen or heard before around these places. And in these places, people get abilities and they can speak with God and they can prophesy. And, they're told definitely don't touch certain things that are holy. You might get electrocuted is what I'm assuming. You might get zapped if you don't know how to handle electricity and stuff like that. You'll get zapped. Like there's
Travis Walton. I know everyone knows that story, but look what happened to him. He was that lumberjack who seen this UFO or whatever. He didn't describe a spaceship. He said it was a big ball of light. He was curious. He got too close and it zapped him.
Yeah, and that can also affect our electromagnetic of our body, which can cause things like when you're too close to a strong electromagnetic pulse, or even a strong magnet, or a strong source of electricity. All the same symptoms start to occur, like nausea and losing your balance,
Like
and straight up
radioactive
being
sickness.
frozen and not being able to move at all, or blacking out and losing time and things like this. Like, it's all affecting the mind or the brain, and it's disrupting signals in the brain because you're too close to something that is holy or powerful.
Right.
They
Holy, of course, being just another word for something powerful, electricity. Yeah.
They also described like people feeling like they got like radiation poison after getting
Yeah.
too close to these damn things, you know?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very fascinating. Whatever's going on there, it seems something is taking place.
Oh,
So
that's gonna take us to the new Venom when you and I jump into Venom, dude.
oh bro, I can't
Area
wait.
51. They had the Area 51 scene.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, twice.
Oh Jay, is it so good?
As far as research, yeah, it's super good.
I thought it was good as
It
a
was okay
movie.
as a movie, but like as
I
far
thought
as
it was.
symbolism, I mean, it was a cool movie. I don't know.
I
I did not
cried.
like the ending at all. Like the
Me
ending,
neither.
I
I
did not
cried
like.
like a
I
little.
almost cried too.
I
I'm
cried,
like,
dude. I
the
was like,
hell,
why
man?
did they kill him?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. It threw off my vibe. Like it's made me sad at the end.
Yeah, I was sad, bro. And it's crazy how, Venom's supposed to be the bad guy. He's like the sentient made out of black goo. And Jay, I've been like collecting all these black goo clips from different movies because me and you talked about doing a black goo episode. So
Yeah.
I've been collecting tons of clips of black goo because I want to get into that with you.
Are you doing the milk too? The
Yes,
white
I want to
stuff.
do. Yes, I want to do them both. I don't have as many clips of the milk, but I'm collecting it too. Yep. So we
Sweet.
can go over both of them, like you. Okay, so I got this video, but
I was
yeah,
about to ask you. Yeah. I want to see this thing.
I'm going to show you guys this video before we end it of this freaking
They're
ball.
gonna talk in a second. Come here. Oh, go ahead, Tommy. My son saw Venom recently. I didn't see it.
What do
But...
you mean? I haven't seen Venom.
Oh, you didn't see Venom.
I've been asking you to.
Ball light.
Video, bro. Show us the video.
Okay, here we go. I'm downloading it right now. Shout out
Okay.
to Joey's son. What, he's over there now? Your
It's
kid?
Emery. He writes the jokes for the episodes.
Oh, does he?
I'm blaming him.
How old's your boy?
This boy's 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
12
He
years
plays
old.
Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure something out. Do you play Pokemon Go?
No, but my kid does. So what are you trying to
game?
what are you trying to figure out? Jay might be able to help you.
To get this thing. So I'm gonna get it on my dad's thing. It helps me get shiny because
NordVPN.
Yeah, it lets you move around
Oh.
in Pokemon and teleport to different countries.
Oh wow,
Oh,
that's
that's-
like a VPN in real
And
life.
I
Wow,
used my
you-
mom's password on this, so I'm gonna do it on dad's thing. And also, this has been proved by many.
Tricking the phone's geolocation so that he can get Pokemons from around the world.
Yes, that's what he's
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing, and I
Let's go to
respect.
Japan.
Yeah,
I-
I can easily do that. That's actually where the most shiny.
I totally respect that you're doing that. So yes, trick the
Where's the app
geolocations.
store?
Let me get all right.
That's funny.
It's fine. His phone's very confusing. He's the first one with the iPhone.
I got
in
an
his family. We
That-
are Android family. So
Oh, you got to get hip to iPhone, buddy. The security's
What?
better.
No.
Yeah, security's
I
better.
get the mover, but I don't
You gotta
like
learn a
it.
new
Like,
language to use an iPhone.
Dude, listen, I was Android forever, Jay. And I mean, this computer I'm on right now is just PC, but I got the new iPad Air. I got the new laptop Air, and I've always used iPhones. I got the 15, the 14, the 13, and the 11. I got like 7 different phones, but because, I'm constantly
Well, I'm gonna
being
get it on-
censored, so I switch up. But honestly, the 11 is the best. You can download the newest iOS 18.1. That's the developer one I have right now, and I have that version on all of my iPhones. and the 11 is the one that before they put 5G on it. So I love my 11 the most. The only thing that's different between the 11 and the 15 is the freaking camera. As long as you have the new software.
You need to get paid right now, dude, by Apple.
Yeah. Shout out to Apple. I need to pay for the sponsorship.
Hey, after so Joey, I saw that you got your $100,000 subscriber plaque.
I wish it was a dollar thing.
I know, right? So
I got the video whenever you guys are ready.
After you hit that milestone, because this happened to me, did you start getting random what seems like advertising opportunities from like notable companies that kind of all reach out at once?
Yeah.
And that seems really scammy, right? Like
there is a big scam thing going on with it, guys. So be careful.
I asked them for a phone number and no one ever replies and says, "Oh yeah." Well, and like one of them sent me a blank contract with like all the important stuff just not even in there. I'm like,
no,
this is.
I lucked out. I got lucky because I kind of said early on I'm not going to ever take sponsors. And I've been sticking to that for a year and a half now. So whenever the 100,000 came in, and then all these sponsorship opportunities came in, like one of them was from a Doritos or something like that.
You should take that.
Some of them I think were scams, but
you gotta get your dad on this
because I was very respectfully like, no, my viewers take care of me because I don't interrupt the videos, and no, thank you. Yeah. And then one of them was a big offer, and I was curious. So I sent it to Mona, who was kind of doing the website stuff, libraryoftheuntold.com coming, by the way. And she backtraced it somehow with technology or whatever. She was like, I don't know what this is, but it ain't.
It's not real.
Right.
And they don't care, dude. You see, I do my sponsorship. It takes 10 seconds, which reminds me, this video is sponsored through promo code Truth Mafia. The link is down below. Get your disc today. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't take no time. And if your followers respect what you're doing for a living, this is my livelihood. I have 4 children that I take care of, and several broke ass family members. You know what I'm saying? And Truth Mafia, we got a whole team behind us. It's not just me. I mean, I have 7 different employees over there that I give. People are having real hard times getting jobs right now, and I gave these people careers where they're making nice amount of money a month. So I think
nothing against that, bro. Like I'm
no, I get what you're saying. I get it.
It's my excuse. I'm just trying to sound virtuous. The real thing is, I don't feel like writing a script. I can't tie it in. I got the underwear company. That was like, they were like, can talk about her underwear. It's silky. It's got a little separate pocket for your junk.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I turned them down. They don't pay enough.
Well, I was trying to tie it in the script, like, hey, and then Travis Walton would have shit his pants. Luckily, he wasn't wearing this underwear. And I felt it didn't work for me, dude. I couldn't do it. And ever since then, I was like, no, if NordVPN was to see this or whatever, and I don't know. I got
or Pokemon Go,
but
Pokemon Go, if they reached out to you like, hey, we seen this, what's up?
I don't know if I could make that work, but like
they could make that work. Pokemon Go.
And Pokemon Go, see, if you see this,
I was tempted with Magic Mind. That was the one thing where it's like, but even if I did Magic Mind, I wouldn't do a 60-second thing. I would have it sitting here whenever I'm chatting, and that would be the most authentic version.
You can do that. That's called ad placement, and you get paid for that too. So
I might do that, but it's still early in the game. I don't know.
You can put a can of soda behind you and take a drink from it, and they'll pay you to do that, dude. You know what I'm saying?
On Wayne's World.
Yeah. No, that's real though. I mean, I got so many. Everybody tells me Donut, Jay. They're like, dude, when it comes to your entrepreneurship, you got it on lock.
That's true. That's true.
Oh yeah.
I've taught a lot of people in the game how to hustle because I've turned it into a career. And I mean, last year I almost cleared $300,000 doing this. So I don't know too many people in the game pulling the kind of money I am. And I don't sell out, brother. I don't ever do anything that I don't believe in. No sponsor can ever tell me what the fuck to say, or I won't do it, period. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna tell me, oh yeah, you can't talk about this or this. I'm like, cool, I'm not taking your sponsorship then. That's all. I don't need your money that much. But ball lightning, let me play this for you guys. I found this on Instagram. At first, now listen, at first when I seen it, I was thinking, okay, is this made, pause the volume, is this made with AI or is it real? So I watch it over and over. Now look, when it's rolling, you can see the shadow. CJ, you can see the light projecting down. So I'm like, if they did that with editing, it would be too good. There's no way. And watch when it goes under the tree, bro. You can even see the light on the grass and you can see the light reflect on the tree leaves. So I'm thinking it's authentic myself. What do you guys think about it? I found it on Instagram, so I don't know.
I got a lot of flack for it. I like the video. I like it so much I used it in my episode on plasma.
Oh, did you?
Plasma Apocalypse, yeah, but I used it on the ectoplasm video about Science of the Soul is what it's called. I got a few comments in there who were like, bro, why'd you use that clip? It's fake or whatever. But then I got some people backing it up too. I'm undecided.
Yeah, well, I try to me, I research everything, so I can't find no creator on it. I backtraced it. I know how to trace videos and shit. I can't find no AI creator, no creator. And what made me believe in it was, like I said, watching it over and over, just seeing how that reflection is there. But, at first what made me didn't believe it was that part there where it's electrocuting the fucking train tracks and then it zaps the pole. I'm like, but that could happen, right, Jay?
Yes. So for me, I put a link in our private chat if you want to check that out. So it's just a compilation of ball lightning that I made.
Oh, cool. Is that on your channel?
Yeah.
And I got your permission to play that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, let me remove this. Present. Let's pull Jay's ball lightning up. Entire screen.
I'll just comment on that video too. I personally feel like the most important thing is, even if something is quote unquote faked or not real or it's a movie or whatever, there's still truth to it, and these things can still be they can reflect truths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I personally don't feel like that video is authentic. I'm pretty sure it is actually like a really good edited video.
It could be.
But it still, to me, represents the truth of ball lightning and how it moves about and stuff, especially on the railroad tracks or whatever. But these ones are what I consider to be more authentic. This one right here is like one of the oldest ones. These are the Foo Fighters. So these are Foo Fighters that are moving through the currents in the atmosphere. And to me, this is an example of ball lightning. And this is why they follow after the metallic craft and stuff too. It's like the fighters, pilots, they'll see electricity following them, and they almost always describe it as a light or it's shining or things.
They think it's UFOs or sentient too because it follows them.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, I'm not dismissing actual physical craft or anything, but I am also including electromagnetic phenomena that does exist in the atmosphere in the form of light.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I really wanted that video to be real, but there's a reason I never shared it. I found it on Instagram and I researched it and I wanted to share it so bad. I was like, man, I want to share this, but I couldn't tell one way or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, you can just say this is a good, accurate representation or depiction of what.
But yeah, what it could look like. It was a good, that video was good to use for this conversation. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we brought context to it, like, hey, it could be fake. I mean, I want it to be real. I want it to be real so bad because it looks so cool. And it is exactly what I seen that came behind me on the railroad tracks. It wasn't that big, though. It was much smaller. And it was kind of orange. It wasn't white like that. It was more of an orange color. but it did the lightning, like zap the fucking tracks and everything, dude. It
Yeah.
kind of, see how that one's turning orange like that? It kind of looked like that, but without the red around it.
Yeah.
Whoa, that one just split off.
Yeah, did you see it right at the end? That was the end of the video. This one's also crazy. Oh my god, I got so much to say, but
And this is pre-AI,
these
right?
ones you can see, yes, these ones right here, you can see that they take the shapes of what could be interpreted as ducks and bunnies and figures that are moving around in the sky, you know? And I was also going to say that they don't always have to be visible. Before they become visible to us, they're visible to infrared cameras and stuff. So these are actually picked up all the time on closed circuit TV and security cameras and stuff. People will see lights that when they go out and check, they're not there. They can't see, like, but they're on the security footage, you know?
It
Because
seems
they
like
exist
they're
in different
sentient
spectrums.
to me. Like, I don't know, man. It's like there's some intelligence going on there with
Yeah.
the ball lightning.
That one right there,
Oh.
I'd say in the whole video is probably the only questionable one for me. Like, that might be plasma. I'm not
That's
sure what
crazy,
the hell that
that
is,
one
but
there.
yeah.
That's kind of what it looked like when it was coming down out of the closet, except it was more round of a sphere.
Now look at this. This one takes like a snowman shape with like a duck
this
bill
one's
on the
tight.
top, and it just sits there in the woods. And oftentimes these things show up in swamps, woods, trash dumps, garbage dumps, and stuff.
This is Brazil.
I've
You
seen
know where
them
it is?
chase
I had no
people,
idea where this was.
dude. I've seen them freaking chase people. Like,
Yeah.
chase people.
And
People
the
dip out like,
colors-
oh shit.
The colors that they turn will depend upon the gases that they're using. And so if they start using up all of their gases, because they give off energy too, they'll get smaller and smaller. They'll start dissipating when they get too low into the atmosphere, and they'll it's just like any of these fireballs that you see on the news. They slow down, and then they dissipate. The fire is gone, you know. And in movies, it's like the Wicked Witch of the West's fireball that they experience or whatever. Different colors of lights in the sky. They can
Damn, that
shapeshift.
one's huge, like a giant mothercraft.
Wow.
Yes, and this is another thing too. So going back to like Project Bluebeam and aliens, and like how, you know, so many people just know there's going to be like an alien invasion, and even the movies are reflecting that there's going to be UFOs in the form of like lights in the sky that hover over that concept I was talking about earlier, places of power, which today equates to major cities and capitals.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, and so you have these lights that start hovering over these places. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen the one that hovered over the Dome of the Rock, and it came down out of the sky,
Yeah.
and then it just stayed over the Dome of the Rock and then shot off, right?
Yes, that was
that's an
nuts.
example of what we're going to see in all of the major capitals. Here's like a closed circuit one, like I was telling you earlier.
It
So
got
if you were there, you might not even see
There was
that.
also a video of the Dome of the Rock getting hit by lightning. Did you see that one?
No, but I mean, it's a huge conductor, so it's
Like
not surprising.
I mean, it was a massive lightning bolt that struck it, and they like took a picture of it at the perfect time. This was a long, long time ago.
Yeah, all that energy probably went down into conductors underneath the earth and capacitors that store that, you know, all that electricity.
I
underneath
agree.
it.
And
See,
it's
one's
probably
green.
because the Dome of the Rock is so old, it's probably still got that ancient tech in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm sure there's other, you know, just like underground at the Capitol building here in the States, there's tunnels and there's that lead to other, you know, areas that are on that same grid, and they go down into other places, and they have, you know, their what do you call those super fast railroad cars and stuff, and classified even deeper levels, just like in Dulce and whatnot.
Domes.
Yeah, dumbs, but they also have like those super fast anti-grav trains or whatever.
Oh
they're
yeah.
called.
The that they hover above ground. It's in King Kong versus Godzilla.
Maglev.
Yeah, maglev. And dude, they said they got them for real that can go from like California to Japan in like 30 freaking minutes and shit. It's traveling at like a couple thousand miles an hour. You know, even if a person couldn't be on it, you could transport goods on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Check this one out right after the lightning flash.
Whoa.
That one was kind of crazy.
Doesn't it like look like a damn ghost? Like how you would imagine a ghost moving around?
I'm telling you, I think there's something to it with the whole sentient thing. And a lot of these, what they think are UFOs disappearing into other dimensions, very much could be this ball lightning.
This one's gonna come up to
It
the
would
camera.
play on Russian scientists. The plasma would do pranks on the scientists. And And
Yeah,
I mean, the Russian scientist thing is just one example. Robert Temple, in his book Science of Heaven, he lists upwards a dozen cases of scientists studying plasma in a lab where it seemed to play pranks on them deliberately.
Wow. Yeah,
It's insane. One of them would create dust right at in a scientific laboratory. If they found any dust, they had to scrap everything.
Right.
In this particular case, I'm going to forget the exact details, but it would create its own dust at always exactly right before the control. And they over and over again would do the clean room routine, the clean room routine over and over because they're trying to weaponize plasma. That was the idea.
Wow.
Yep.
Dude, that reminds me of the symbiotes as well. The same type of the deal. I wonder if
Yep.
maybe instead of like just screwing with them, if it was protecting itself, like it didn't want to be a part of it, so it made the dust to throw them off their game or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds sentient to me though.
Right.
Yeah, it does sound sentient, and it could have been trying to protect itself. And I think they do have plasma weapons. You know, with what happened with Lahaina, I think that shit was a plasma weapon. Now people think, oh, it was a directed energy weapon, and that's why blue didn't burn the blue roofs because, you know, I showed the video a million times how a laser beam, it just can't detect the color blue. Remember that video, Jay?
Yeah.
So, but now they have plasma weapons where it doesn't matter. Plasma don't give a shit about a color. It's going to burn whatever. And where do they show us this? Well, in the series Halo, which is a form of predictive programming, revelation of the method. They do in Halo what they call glassing a planet. And the reptilian aliens in Halo, the series, which was also a video game, they will glass a whole planet with the plasma weapons, dude, and just obliterate the whole planet. It's just gone. It turns it to like glass. You know, that's why they call it glassing, and nothing's left except
that sounds a lot like what
look, this is like the one we watched.
Yeah.
Very much.
There's these vitrified forts, especially on Easter Island, where the top of these structures, they were really crude structures, just basically like two stones with a stone on top of both to form a roof, and the top of them were glass. The stones were glass on top, what he called vitrified forts, and now that's all over the world, but especially on Easter Island. There's something real fishy about it, but there's something, he said it was a solar flare that caused the vitrification, but he also said that was his own hypothesis and he was open to other ideas. But basically, the same as the bottom of the Red Sea, they found sand that was turned to glass. You know, It seems to be some kind of plasmatic discharge.
Yeah, it's fast. Well, there's definitely tons of evidence of these plasma events taking place. That is for sure. Here's Jay's channel, guys. Once Jay came on, I went and updated the description. So Jay's link is in the description to his channel, his website. And Jay, instead of putting the link to your book on Amazon, I just put the link to your book on your website because I know you'd rather them buy it from you directly, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because Amazon takes a percentage, don't they?
Whoa. Yeah, I saw it. I just bought the book, but it was $37 fucking.
Yeah, you could have bought it off of his website.
Well, it's actually more expensive from my website, but it's because I have to pay for shipping. But people that buy it from my website, it's autographed and it comes with merch and stickers and bookmarks that are all like custom that I do, and like little mini posters that I do that are like collectible and they're all numbered.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna refund it. I'm gonna get it from you with all the extra goodies, and I'll ship you my book as well. We'll have a little tradesies.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Or just if you just want to trade, that's fine. You could just shoot me your address or whatever, and we can just do
hell yeah. And I understand, by the way, what happens, man. I forgot how much my book was.
Too, Jay, and I don't got nothing to trade you except my.
Just send me your address, bro.
Sorry. Yeah, because
it's not like you guys live in Australia or something. It's crazy expensive to ship stuff to Australia or far
It's
away
fit.
places.
So he's so right about that, because I got a shop. And by the way, guys, we got a sale going on for Halloween, so go check it out. We got some amazing products. I got these new Tesla technology. Jay, you would love this stuff. I was actually thinking, I was like, man, I got to show this shit to Jay, and so you can put it on your shop. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But when I just sent some of it over to Australia, bro, so it cost me like maybe $10 to ship to America. Right. And that's why we do free shipping, guys, and we can keep the prices way lower. But it takes 9 to 14 days to get to you because it's free shipping. If not, I'd have to add an extra $15 to $20. And if you lived in Australia, to ship a little product like this, it's $50 freaking dollars. Can you believe that bullshit?
Damn.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, and I'm not joking. Australia's unreal to ship shit. It's like, if you send them a shirt, you're spending an extra $50 just to ship it. It's like, what the hell? So I never knew that when I first started the store, bro.
Right.
And I had the prices already set. So like a bunch of orders came in from Australia. And the first day I launched the store, I took probably a couple $100 loss in shipping. It kind of sucked, but what are you going to do? These polarizing discs, Jay, they're pretty amazing, bro. It's based on Tesla's technology, and George Lakowski, he patented his multi-wave oscillators in 1934, and they got these. You can get the one that comes with the whole package. So they got different ones: the fire disc, the metal disc, the wood disc. You know what I mean? And then if you want to get the whole package, you can get all of them for a really good price. It's actually a way better deal. But they relieve pain, boost your energy, and it's just all frequencies. The MWO EMF disc is based on the concept of multi-wave oscillators, which was developed to help cells regain their natural oscillation and vitality. This acts as a polarized antenna, capturing and amplifying the environmental energy to provide targeted healing. So I thought these were amazing. And when I reached out and looked into it, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get this shit. Ain't them pretty cool, Jay?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, working with the currents that exist naturally and the vibrations that exist naturally and the things around us. This is magic. This is knowing how to do this now will greatly be of help in a future that I envision, where the atmosphere is electrically amplified and these become sigils and things. Like, this is exactly what I believe is the origin for dream catchers, basically. Like, they held dream catchers over babies' cribs initially. That's what they were created for, to keep the evil spirits from suffocating them or whatnot at night. But if the evil spirits are electromagnetic or plasma in nature, then they would get trapped in the circuitry of this dream catcher, which honestly probably was soaked in salt water, is what I'm assuming, and then dried out, so that it would become trapped in this little circuitry maze or whatever. Like, those are examples of how we can use those ancient knowledge and myths and things and lore, reverse engineer it and figure out how it's practical in the world today.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Like these ones, I got this necklace on right now, and like Joey, on my store, bro, this is another way you can generate money. I'm generating 3,000 to 4,000 a week just on my shop, but I don't put nothing on here, brother, that I don't believe in. Like all the stuff, I research it heavily, look into the distributors. It's stuff that I truly believe in. I test it all first. And this one's got the far infrared stone on it, the magnets. So it's all stuff that vibrates and amplifies your overall frequency, your biofield. Like these ones protect you from the EMF, and it's based on that quantum science technology. And it's Shugnite, which is one of the amazing elements that we're given naturally, right? So I that's the type of stuff I like, and it's the type of stuff that my followers love. Every time we get a new product in, it just does so amazing. These whistles, one of my buddy Chris, he ordered one. He calls me up. He's like, Tommy, I think my whistles messed up. It don't make a noise. I was like, bro, it's not that kind of whistle, but it's a meditation whistle. So it's to train your body on how to breathe the proper way while you're meditating. You know what I'm saying? and it releases anxiety, stress, fatigue. Like when you were mentioning Wim Hof, well, how does he?
Breathing is very important, it turns out.
It's so important. That's how he achieves all that stuff. That's how he's able to immerse himself in freaking ice water for 10 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? He tells you how he done it. He trained his body how to breathe.
That's what Mr. Miyagi says in the Karate Kid, right? That was
Hell
the
yeah.
first thing.
Yep, it's all about breathing,
very important.
dude. It's all about breathing, and all my products are. This is a cool one too, Jay. So this is this new technology I'm looking into. This bioglass, and you put your glass of water on here. So say you got your pH water, you put your water on there, and it energetically charges your water, bro. And I mean, this shit is amazing. And when you guys look at the prices on these, they're usually about $150, anywhere between $90 and $150. We got a pretty good deal to where we can offer them for $35 with shipping. And you can also have them in your pocket. But you want to use it for your water. That's what I put mine on in the morning. Even if you're drinking coffee, throw your coffee on there for a half hour at first, and it'll energize it. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy, man. We got this new one in the sunflower stone, and it's got the certain stones on the back of it, which each have their own healing properties. So yeah, man, it's just cool stuff. And that's all over on truthfultv.com, guys. That's where I do all my bookings. So if you want to book a personal decode, find out your little role in the simulation, that's all over here. So just
you can hang those pendants from your owner whenever you're with a nice lady, and it'll give you the perma boner. Like it's a magnified. Yeah. It's for the heart chakra. You wear it here, it works for the heart chakra. You wear it down there. I mean, you got superpowers, babe.
But I mean, he might be making a joke, but there's something.
I'm not.
There's actually something to it.
Yeah, why do you
think
the
one looks like a labyrinth, like the Minotaur that Jay was talking about, the Minotaur, the mythology and the sacred geometry. That looked like the labyrinth that the Minotaur, or he was talking about the dream catchers, right?
Yeah,
that's what that looks like. The Minotaur is running around in that labyrinth. You know, he can't find his way out of that. And the other one, it looked like that Buddhist temple from the top, where it's got all those circles within circles. I mean, that's kind of what Atlantis looked like too, right? What's up?
Here's an example of like, when people actually buy from me, like I wrap it up in this black box and put like my channel tape all over it and stuff. And
that's tight.
I get like a bookmark that I custom made like for my my autograph, and this one's like a Van Gogh plasma volcano deal I made. It's kind of hard to see because my green screen, but
his website is so tight, dude. His artwork,
badass, dude.
When I first started following him, his website, I didn't have truthfultv.com yet. So I kind of jacked a lot of shit from Jay. I was like, man, I got to go with this because Jay's has it. You know, it definitely inspired me. And I always give credit where credit's due. And Chloe, welcome.
Yours is really organized. That's what I like. I learned from yours. You're so organized. Mine's the same style as how I decorate my house. Like it's like Wayne Manor. It's like a museum. There's just crap everywhere.
But I like it.
There's all kinds of. There's a hall of that. There's a hall of that. It's all over the place.
It's cool. And shout out to all Jay's followers. This is how I got my moderator, Kimberly, who is honestly one of the best moderators in the world. She moderates for Jay now. Donut wants to hire her. So Kimberly, make sure when you're over at Donut, you let him know who you are, because I told him about you. I said, dude, she's the best, bro. Like when you're doing your podcast, she shares all the links, and all my moderators are amazing. But I definitely, seen her over with you, Jay, and how great she does for you, bro. She's just phenomenal. What is this? What is this you're showing?
That's one of the Pokemon.
What is that? That's this one's Sleepy.
Oh, is that who that is?
Snorlax never had his eyes open before.
Oh man, he can see without his eyes open. That's magic right there.
He can't see. He's always sleeping.
Oh, never mind. He's asleep. He's an NPC.
He's a non-player character. Sleepy is the NPC Pokemon.
Yeah, with the smile. Remember that movie?
When I have my dad show you guys when I play on VR, he can show you, like he can see what I see.
Emery, We're not going to do. We're on someone else's show right now. This isn't our live feed.
I know, so.
We're going to finish this up here in a minute, but me and you can play. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah,
Well, he's
I'll
used
check it out
to.
another
We go
time.
live after the episodes, and it's all anything goes. But
no. Hey, you're fine, man. I got kids too, bro. He's
Yeah,
cool.
me too.
No problem, dude. I mean, Jay's got a son. I got numerous kids, so I get it, dude. Family's amazing. But yeah, man, we're at 2 hours and 30 minutes, so we're gonna wrap it up anyway. So I'll let you get to play with your kid and do your little Pokemon Go shit. I heard people are being kidnapped when Pokemon Go first came out. They were going to find Pokemons and shit. And there's like a couple murders that happened at these Pokemon sites. Did you hear about that? Yeah, there was some weird shit. Yeah, dude, there was.
That's
You gotta
wild.
be careful. You got to be careful.
I heard a lot of conspiracies about it. I heard that they were mapping out the U.S. territory by looking at it through our phones because we were literally.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
But I mean, that might be
conspiracies. These were mainstream news articles talking about people getting murdered, going to specific locations, and when it first came out. But that could all have been fear porn too. But
of course, the mainstream stories oftentimes tend to be a cover of the truth that's in the conspiracy. And I know that you know what I'm talking about. If you remember 1992, whenever so-and-so got a BJ in the White House, and it was news for everyone on earth found out. Monica Lewinsky is the most famous person in the world, man. They told everybody about that, right? You fast forward to today and you find out what, it's like they put out a news story that is shocking. And then it typically is like a nugget of what is actually, I probably shouldn't go here, but it typically is it's a cover story, dude. It's insane.
You can go there here 100%. And shout out to my Cherie too. You're another amazing moderator. She's been one of my followers since I first started. I see you got her on your channel too now, Jay, my Cherie. Yes. As a mod. She's phenomenal, bro. She's over on Donuts. We got a lot of the same moderators. So go check out Joey over on Library and Untold. Maybe he'll get you guys moderating too.
Thank you. That would be awesome.
You got to be able to trust them, Joey, because your moderator can freaking block your people. Like they can block your subscribers. Now you can see who does it after the show and then be like, okay, I'm getting rid of that moderator. I'll never have them again. But yeah, they can, there's got to be trust there.
Right. Oh, of course. Yeah. I'm just now kind of starting to open up a little bit. I got Mona doing the website, so she's got my bank information. Nico, I know that you were chatting with Nico.
Yeah, I told him about coming on the show, and yeah,
she is incredibly knowledgeable. I find myself more of I like speculation. That's where I'm at. That's why I like mythology so much. Is I'm big on speculation. If you could pitch her some speculation, and she'll tell you the Egyptian hieroglyphs or the whatever chakra that goes with it, and she pronounces stuff correctly, which I can't figure out how to do.
Me neither.
I know you said oscillators, and you just turned me on every time you said it. That was beautiful. But,
how's it pronounced? You pronounce it right?
The C is silent, but I'm on your team, dude. I'm tired of these because we opened this chat with Ptah. Yeah. I'm tired of these letters sneaking into our words, bro. I'm just gonna say them. Go for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to trust a little bit more. But moderators kind of keep the crowd in line, right? In the chat.
Yeah. Yep. They're good for that too. If any trolls, fortunately with my chat, I have some of the best followers, and they're like amazing, man. We really don't get too many trolls over here because my chat will just like drive them right out. So you come over here trying to troll, it's not gonna work.
There's something about these kind of channels that we have where we're allowed to disagree, and it's just a-okay, and that's a beautiful thing, If you have like a science show, some kind of Neil deGrasse Tyson based type of show, people are going to argue and cutthroat. It's crazy how angry people get. Meanwhile, we're over here talking about different cosmologies, literally like the foundation of the universe, and we're just laughing about our differences. And there's something about that that the top-down effect affects our community. And now they're in the Discord having at it too, but it's just love, you know.
Yep.
Something about these kind of channels feed that loving energy.
Yeah, it's
Your
beautiful.
vibe attracts your tribe.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's Jay's tribe, the good vibe tribe, he calls them.
The vibe
You know,
tribe.
mine's the mob squad. We're the Truth Mafia over here, so we're on that mob shit. But
I love that.
Yeah. Somebody had to start the mafia in this whole thing. I figured the elites got theirs. They got their little secret societies, and even the mainstream mom, Cecilia, and I grew up in all Italian neighborhoods in Brooklyn. They are totally controlled by the CIA and the government. It's just their street branch, you know. And
Right.
So I said, well, we got to have our own, and that's why I started it. And I think that's what Source, God, whatever you want to call it, put me here to unify everyone. And I brought so many people together that fought with each other and didn't get along at first. And I got them on, channels together and doing podcasts together. And then I've tried to mend some fences, and some people were for it and others were stubborn. And we ain't going to get into that, but
I know that you're bringing people together, man, because the proof is today with the synchronicity. Like I said, it's so crazy that I emailed Jay yesterday and I'm looking at him right now. That is literally cosmic synchronicity, insanity to me. That's wild.
Yeah, Jay's a good buddy of mine, man. He's a good person, and me and him vibe. So we just do amazing work together. I love working with him. And he's such a good-hearted person, really good person. So I think you guys will do an amazing show together. And I'm glad I could put you guys together in this one, be part of that. It feels really cool. And if you guys got any plugs that you want to do before we sign out, and then I'll end the stream and it'll do an outro. So if you guys got to go, you can go. Or if you want to hang out till after the outro to talk after, you're more than welcome to. Whatever you got to do.
Well, I'm not quite as multiversited as you guys are. I got my YouTube channel. That's the bread and butter. That's pretty much all I got. I do have the only other thing is Book of Wonderful Suffering. If we're doing plugs, I wrote this puppy for my son. It's kind of like a Pillars of Living type thing, but it's got all the mythology, a bit of conspiracy. It's heavily illustrated. There's a lot of Jung in here, but there's also a lot of aliens in here too. You get everything.
Jung's work.
Right.
Oh, that's
I wrote this for my boy to have if I was to die, or if he was to, when he gets old enough or whatever. And whenever I sent it in to get pressed, just to have like one copy sitting on the shelf, there was a guy working at the printing thing, whatever. I forgot the exact details, but he was like the coolest dude. He called me and he was like, bro, he's like, you took me for a left turn on this chapter, Who Are the Grays chapter or whatever. And then he was like, I'm sending this to Barnes and Noble and you should have it published or whatever. And then that's exactly what happened. And then I started a YouTube channel to talk about it. And then the rest is history.
That's really cool, dude. I never even knew that. So where can they get that book?
It's at Barnes and Noble, but it's also available at Amazon.com. I guess I've seen it on a couple of used book sites too, but I'm really heavily resented about that. So
yeah, don't purchase it from the used book site. Support.
It's fine. It's all good. I don't mind it, but it's soon. Possibly within the next week, it'll be available at libraryoftheuntold.com. Shout out to Mona, but we're going to open an online bookstore. I wish I could plug it in full right now, but I can't because it's not out yet. But it's going to be a book club, bookstore type of deal where you're going to be able to actually buy books from the shelf directly. And we haven't panned out all the details yet, but some of them will be a drop shipping thing. I don't know. I'm still new to a lot of this kind of stuff. I'm a bit of a bookworm and I'm a bit of an old school dude. So just getting down what we're doing right now was a challenge, but I'm learning and growing.
Oh, you're doing great. And when you launch it, buddy, you make sure you text me, because I'll
Sure.
send that out to my 8,000. We got over 800,000 email lists now. The whole
Sure.
Truth Mafia. We'll send it out to everyone, and we'll bring you on the show to promote it and you know, talk about it, because that's really awesome what you're doing, bro. So Jay, what do you got going on, brother?
Well, you know, my channel, and then jdreamerz.com website, my books.
Check out them books.
I'm not good at promoting myself. So
You
my
got a
books
shop too over there?
on my website
Yeah.
for my books. I offer services. People can buy an individual or both of my books that I have in the series so far. They can just buy like a merch pack, because when they buy, you know, if they already have my books, they just want the merch, I can send that out. And now I offer consultations too. So I've had a couple already so far where they're personal plasma apocalypse consultations.
Well, that's
and,
awesome.
It's nothing like I'm going to guarantee some safe place or tell you when the world will end or anything. It's more personal. So, for example, with the last one I did, I pulled up their local geography, and we checked out like where the bedrock is and what the land is made out of and dangers to expect in their local areas, places of interest. And you know,
I need one of
went over
them.
like survival tips and you know, things to think about packing, you know, or starting to pack. And some of it was personal, like, you know, their own personal, you know, just tips from me of like what they could work on to endure and to make it past this event, you know, should it come. It's really personal. It's just like, you know, it's a meet and greet. They could ask me any question they want to, even if it's not related to the plasma apocalypse or whatever, but that's their time. And then I take notes on everything. So afterwards, I'll send them, you know, like a coupon for maybe a month or two of free membership on my website so they can learn more. And I also send them my personal notes of what we went over.
Oh, that's really cool. I think I might book me one of them, because I need you to help me tell me where my freaking safe zones are in my location, bro. I'm in Akron. I'm in Canton, Ohio, so I'm close to Akron. And my only theory now is I'm heading to the Goodyear blimp place. They got them party blimps that go up for like 5 days at a time and sleep 12 people. I'm going to jump in that bitch and wait for it to be over. But I don't know if that'll work. I might get knocked out of the air with plasma, dude. You know, I might get struck.
I feel like that's going to work with all the confidence you just put into that.
I feel like it will too. We're heading to Greenland. I told Donut I'll be to pick him up. We got a meeting spot. I'm going to pick up a few people, and we're shooting to Greenland because of that damn movie Greenland. That's where they went. So I'm like, hey, is that some predictive programming? Should I go to Greenland? Maybe I'm heading there.
Well, I need a ride to the North Pole, buddy. If you got
I'll snatch you up, Jay. We'll come grab you, brother. We will come grab you. I got a person out there, my homegirl, Lindsay. She's out in Chicago or out in Colorado. So, you know, I got to snatch her and her kid up because she's been following me for a long time. I can't let them disappear in the apocalypse. And, you know, we'll grab Joey
because there's a train going by.
We'll grab you, Joey, and your kid on the way too, bro. So we'll have the whole
new community.
Yeah, we'll build a whole new. We need a few females, so we're gonna have to. My Cherie, be ready. We're gonna have to repopulate the world.
This is probably how the freaking steampunk age began. You were like the steampunk king in your prior life. I'll bet you anything, man. Like hopping in your air blimp or whatever, and charging for passport. There's probably some air piracy happening in there somewhere, and
some Willy Wonka type shit. You know. Yeah, I'm down with that. So thank you both for coming on, man. I had just an amazing time, and I appreciate both you guys so much. I'm such a big fan of both your work, and just keep putting out amazing stuff because I know my followers love it. And thank you guys, man. Smash that like button, share the video, and make sure you go check out Jay Dreamerz and Joey P on Untold Libraries. We're out of here, guys.
Thanks, man. See you.
Yo, we living in a sim, reality's a game. NPCs around us, they all look the same. Soulless entities controlled by AI. Quantum computer running life, asking why. Are you just a player, controlled by machine? Or a first player character, living the dream? Tap into the code, break free from the lies. Decode your Gematria, see through their disguise. In the simulation, what's your role, what's your fate? Are you real or controlled, can you navigate? Elites use Gematria, secrets in the code. Find out your archetype, let the truth unfold. Super quantum computer, pulling all the strings. NPCs moving like puppets on a swing.